another episode.
I'm sorry. My apologies. You can probably tell, and most of you know it does happen from time to time. Um, I fell asleep. I had an alarm set. My son went to bed. I had an alarm set for like 10:15, and it's midnight. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. My son went to sleep. I tried to take a quick nap. I don't know what happened. So outside of that, I'm sorry. Welcome back to another episode, obviously. Welcome in. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way in. If you're new to the channel, please hit the sub button. We are on the road to we hit 23K, I think last night, actually. So we're on the road to 24K. And I appreciate all the support along the way. Obviously, we are here to watch the Shawn Ryan and Candace interview. I planned on finishing the whole thing tonight. Obviously, things have changed. So we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can. My apologies again. So without further ado, I don't want to talk too much. We've obviously already missed an hour and a half. So let's just get straight to it. We stopped at 1 hour and 37 minutes and 13 seconds. Just in case anybody wanted to know that information. So we're going to start from there. Obviously, the first hour and 37 minutes have been very, very good. This is a 4 hour and 36-minute interview. So 3 hours to go. Let's find out if I got 3 hours in me. Maybe, since I already took a nap. So I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for being patient and waiting. I'm not even going to waste too much more time, much more of y'all's time. All right, here we go.
So he was a fan of psychology. He believed in Sigmund Freud's theory, which was that kids are attracted to their parents. Wacky. And then he learned to speak German so that he could read Sigmund Freud's notes and his letters that the public has never seen. And he realized that Sigmund Freud was a complete fraud. And he rang the alarm on it and said he literally saw and knew that these kids were being abused, that these kids were being raped. In some cases in Vienna, they were being raped and murdered in such satanic, vicious, occult, ceremonies that they died. And he would then go to the morgue. He observed their injuries. He knew it was real, and he lied because he was protecting his pedophile friends. And so they developed Sigmund Freud's contribution to society is gaslighting. He created gaslighting. So you can draw a direct line from Sigmund Freud to Hollywood to modern propaganda.
Wait, what's going on?
She's going to raise.
Whoa. Okay. It's all good. No worries. Let me refresh it right quick. Hour and 38 minutes. Man, what? What are they talking about, bro? I just paid for it. Give me a second, man. They playing with me right now. That is diabolical. I just paid for it. Let me refresh the page. Okay. Okay. There we go. Hour 38 minutes. Let's see. There we go.
ceremonies that they died. And he would then go to the morgue. He observed their injuries. He knew it was real, and he lied because he was protecting his pedophile friends. And so they developed Sigmund Freud's contribution to society is gaslighting. He created gaslighting. So you can draw a direct line from Sigmund Freud to Hollywood to modern propaganda. His nephew is Edward Bernays, the World War II propaganda, all of that. That's Edward Bernays. To PR that we have today. That the Freud family is still the biggest PR.
She's talking about Sigmund Freud. I know we just hopped in at the most random time, but this was from yesterday. I didn't want to go back too much, but she's talking about Sigmund Freud and some story about that.
Our family in the world. They do PR for the royal family. I mean, Matthew Freud. And this is where we're at, is gaslighting is another onion piece of a layer. So when you realize someone's wronged you and you say, this is wrong, they then send people to try to make you think that you're the crazy person. And I dealt with that firsthand, saw how the mafia moves, trying to convince me that I had done something wrong when I tweeted genocide is always wrong. The messages were insane that I received. I had to read my tweet like 1,000 times and go, did I say something in here? Like, genocide is always wrong.
You said genocide is wrong, and then
genocide is always wrong.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit. Who do you think your handlers were?
You know, I think
how close to you were they?
They were all, I mean, it was very apparent, but it was all around me. It was, I think probably the most skilled handler, and was Marissa. I didn't realize until that moment that, you know, she messaged me and said, like, I want to help you. You don't want to go down this route. If you go down this route, I can't protect you. And I stood up for myself and the messages. And I said, Marissa, go down what route? Like, what am I doing here that's wrong? You know, I'm a grown adult woman. I know what I'm saying. I believe genocide is always wrong. I mean, this was all via text message, so I still have it.
Who's Marissa?
Marissa is the CEO of Prager University, PragerU. And then, of course, the Daily Wire, who were trying to convince me that I owed Ben an apology for saying genocide is always wrong. I mean, watching that psychological element of them trying to convince me that I had done something wrong was insane. And Dave Rubin was messaging me. It was just full on, everyone trying to explain to me, like, let me help you. It's always the approach of like, I'm your friend and I'm trying to help you realize the error of your ways. And it's just full blown gaslighting. And I stood firm on it and was like, no, I know what I wrote. And I meant every word of it. Genocide is always wrong. Still stand by that.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Oh, I thought I was.
How do you hire?
Well,
that's like the most. I get so fucking paranoid when I have to hire. I mean, everybody hates hiring.
Yeah.
I really fucking hate hiring.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust anybody.
Yeah. I trust my gut.
How do you find your people?
Well, I've benefited from the fact that I've had the same people on my team for over 5 years now. So when I got fired from a Daily Wire, my team came with me, which was a tremendous vote of confidence at the time because we didn't know. We didn't have anything. We were just sort of like, look, we can't give you any benefits. We don't know if this is going to work, obviously. And the Daily Wire at that time was paying, you know, a lot of money. They had benefits. They had security. And, you know, my editor came over, my producer came over, technical director. And so it was a tremendous vote of confidence that they came over with me. So I know that they believe in me and they believe in what I'm doing. So I'm lucky that we don't have a high turnover rate and I haven't had to be trusting. And I'm just very grateful, I think, to have that. And we're tight. We have a good time. We have fun. I believe in SEAL Team 6. I like to keep the team small and effective. I don't care about, you know, appearances and having 90 people working for me and, you know, I can dress myself. You know, so it's a small team. And when we do have to hire, I go with my gut. we recently hired a new director, and he's been fantastic. And the reason why he was great is he just totally sits outside of the entire wheelhouse of politics. So he was just a burst of fresh air, and loves to research. Just a great positive attitude, and you have to want to be around the people too. You spend a lot of time, you're fighting a lot of battles with them, and so you want to keep them motivated and have a good time and be able to laugh and enjoy each other, have the same values in life. I think everybody on my team is in a really good place in life, like fulfilled by their relationships, by their marriages. So it feels good.
Good for you.
Yeah, we're in a good spot.
Good for you. All right, let's go back a couple years. Where'd you go to college after high
Went to the
school?
University of Rhode Island. That incident in high school happened when it was in my senior year. So it kind of threw my entire senior year into chaos. And I'm lucky I even applied to college. I almost didn't even apply because it was so crazy. And URI was like close enough. I just applied to URI, got in, went there.
What'd you want to study?
English and journalism. I have a double major in English and journalism.
I think she did. She got into some type of incident where everybody was like, Candace Owens exposed. So I think that's what she was referring to. I can't quite remember what the situation was, but it is public information though.
So I think it's quite fitting. Yeah.
Where do we go from there?
Where did I go from there? So actually, the story is I finished my degree later because Sallie Mae had a huge collapse and didn't give me my loan for my senior year of college. I have senior year issues, I've realized. So you've got some senior year issues. And so I had to figure it out. Sallie Mae basically was like, you have 1 year before we start knocking on your door and demanding your firstborn child. I had $100K in student loan debt. They weren't going to pay for the last year. Crazy. I could wax poetic about the industry of student loans. It's so predatory. Finding poor people and getting them to pledge just to be in debt for the rest of their lives. But I then moved to New York City. I had no plan. I picked up a job nannying and was like, while I was nannying, if I could just start applying for jobs because these loans were starting to haunt me. I needed to make some money and get out of debt. And so I was like, if I get my foot in the door anywhere, I can sell myself. I can learn anything. I'm a really hard worker. And my second interview at a private equity firm, I saw that like they pay their assistants really well, these private equity guys. And so my second interview at a private equity firm, I got hired to be a second assistant and hired on the spot, which was fantastic. And then I stayed with that company for 4 years. And when I left, I was like the vice president of the administration.
Wow.
They were fantastic to me. I was treated really well. And I got to travel the world because it was one of those jobs where I had to do everything. I mean, his wife.
Did you just say you went from second assistant to VP of the entire company in 4 years?
VP of the administration. It was a small company, so I don't want to make it wasn't like there was like 1,000 employees. It was like almost like a family style trade desk, a true private equity structure. I mean, maybe 18 employees, which was nice. It actually is part of the reason why I like the idea of a small team because I saw it work. And they were killers. We worked really hard. And I got to meet a lot of really cool people. They invested also in movies and there was a lot of traveling involved. So I got to see the world on somebody else's dime, which was great too, because he also, when he had crises happening in his personal life, he really trusted me to just learn anything and figure it out, whether it was building a house in Montauk, whether it was, I ended up with Snoop Dogg in Croatia. You know what I mean? Like there were so many crazy adventures and no 2 days were the same. So I had a fantastic time while I was there. And I was there to pay off my student loans. And so every time bonus season came around, I would just ask him to pay another chunk, hey, can you pay another chunk? And he did. I was working for the principal there. And so they also even put me through, I went down to learn Spanish. I moved to Costa Rica was it a 8-week program? And you live with a family that doesn't speak any English because he had a wife that was Spanish speaking. And so she hired a lot of Spanish staff. And I was like, well, I got to learn the language. I can't manage the staff if I don't know the language. And so
I do appreciate y'all's concern. I'm looking at the comments. Said someone call him and wake him up. Someone said my wife could have went in labor. It is coming very soon. But yes, I definitely needed that phone call because I was knocked out.
because they traveled, everyone goes to Montauk or the Hamptons for the summer. I found a program. Can you pay for me to go down there? I'll learn Spanish. And so I did that. And
So you speak Spanish?
Yeah, well, I'm now really, really rusty, but I was fluent in Spanish, and I can understand Spanish though. And so, yeah, I mean, I really lived a lot in those 4.5 years that I was there, saw a lot of the world, and just, I always wanted to grow. I like learning. I like learning. I like focusing. Anything that I put my mind to, I feel like I can learn. And that was kind of my introduction to, I mean, there's no place, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. That's the expression. And I live by that. I really do believe that because it's such a tough city.
What were you doing at Vogue?
So that's when I was interning initially. I was interning and I did the whole magazine circuit. So I did 17 magazine, I did Glamour magazine, and I did Vogue, which was the big one that everyone wants to get into. And it was, of course, as somebody who loved to write, I majored in English and journalism. That was my glamorous idea, was that I was going to go move to New York City and, I don't know, be Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. I don't know what my idea was. It was, in retrospect, a little bit cartoonish. And then when I got there, I just culturally was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. This is not where I want to work. The girls were so vicious, so hungry. So, but I learned a lot. I mean, they would have fond memories of me. I worked my butt off. And that was why I kind of graduated up to the magazines and was the head of the intern closet, so to speak, at Vogue, and made great friends. So I've been a lot of places, really, when I think about it.
See that.
New York was tough. It was fun. It was a lot of lessons learned. And they even, the private equity firm even let me take, because I wanted to learn a little bit about private equity. I became a notary, because anytime they were like, we need this, I was like, how many times am I going to get a notary in here? Why don't I just become a notary? That's the kind of person I am. So I just took the test and became a notary. And then did this NYU accounting course as well, because I wanted to understand a little bit more about the finance side of what we were doing, because I was interested in the deals. They were really all so different that were being brought. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
You were liberal growing up.
Yeah, I mean, liberal in the...
I'm an hour and 50 minutes into the interview.
The youth sense. I think it's weird when my husband says he was always conservative. I'm like, what's wrong with you? He's the rare person who was always conservative. And I was liberal, like in the way that you don't know anything and it just kind of sounds better even. Are you a liberal or conservative? I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal. What do you mean? And I think anytime.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Before you have bills, life is it's so easy to be like idealistic when you don't have to pay bills and you don't really comprehend the issues. Then you lean into the emotional issues and like live and let live. You love these like stupid bumper sticker expressions you see. It all so nice. It fits your like AIM profile, like, oh, let me find a quotation to put on my going away message on AM. Like the youth, you're liberal when you're young. There's that expression. Who says the expression that if you're not a liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative when you die, you don't have a brain. Then you're paying taxes and you're like, hey, where's this money going? Like, why am I working so hard? And then your philosophy changes a bit as you get older. But I never was politically inclined, so I never voted Democrat. Okay. I would have very much described myself as a liberal. And if you had asked me any topic, I would have been across the Democratic Party line if I was actually voting, but I wasn't.
That's similar to Tucker Carlson. I don't think there's no way to like confirm who he voted for and stuff like that, but he was a registered Democrat for longer than he was a Republican, and he has his explanations and stuff like that. So, and again, it's a difference between registering as a Democrat and voting as a Democrat. but he kind of has a similar story though.
What switched you?
I had this curious set of circumstances that brought me to like something that was known as the Gamergate conspiracy.
What is that?
Honestly, I still couldn't tell you, to be honest with you, because I'm not a gamer, as I just said. But I was like Alice in Wonderland and was trying to, I put up a Kickstarter to put together a company. I had this idea after I paid down all of my student loans and I had a little savings account that I wanted to start. And it was maybe all heart, no brain, a company that would get kids into to be able to like get in trouble on the internet without having these consequences like being arrested. And so my bright idea was that I was going to create this company called Social Autopsy. And if they got in trouble online, they wouldn't like get into legal trouble. And rather than that, it would sort of help them like, I don't know, maybe get suspended or something. Like it was like my way of trying to right the wrongs, maybe misguided from what happened in high school, totally misguided. And I was very green. And I put it up on Kickstarter and I got this weird call from this girl called Zoe Quinn. Gamers who are watching this will know exactly who this is. They'll be like, yes, the gamer, that's how I knew you or whatever. And it was really weird because she was telling me she was a victim and that I couldn't make this company. She misunderstood what we were even thinking about doing. She thought we're going to build a technology, like a Silicon Valley technology to unmask trolls on the internet, which was not at all what we were doing. We had no capability to do this. We had a splash page. That's why we were on Kickstarter. I had no connections to be able to do that. But her call, she was saying she was a victim, but it was very obvious she was threatening me. And I didn't know anything about this girl or Gamergate. And long story short, after I hang up the phone call with her, I start getting hit with a bunch of threats online. And it was very obvious to me that this girl was
Happy early birthday to Samantha in the chat.
Directing threats. Just my gut instinct that something was wrong with this girl. And I landed myself into the middle of a huge Gamergate like war that was being covered extensively by Breitbart. I'm really just always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so suddenly next thing a Washington Post is calling me. I'm not known at this time. They're calling me and they're asking, and I'm thinking these are my friends. Like I went to school, Washington Post, that is the top of the line journalism. I learned this in school. Like what, I'm so flattered to be able to give this interview. And I spoke to this girl, Caitlin Dewey was her name. I'll never forget that. And she was so nice on the phone. And I said to her, yeah. And I explained to her what happened. I'm like, I really don't think that girl Zoe Quinn is telling the truth because, she was a victim and said that she was harassed by gamers. And so she kind of built a whole 501c3 platform based off of that. And I guess the Gamergate conspiracy was that she was actually leading an army of trolls. And that was just my experience with her in 4 seconds, and I had no idea what was going on or what the backstory was. Just like that girl is led trolls against me and that girl wasn't a victim. And boy, was that a big statement. Anyway, the Washington Post, after they interviewed me, Caitlin Dewey, also New York Magazine, I believe it was, or the New Yorker, Jesse Signal or Single was his name, Signal, they lied and smeared me after I thought these guys were my friends. And I told them the truth and they were protecting this girl, Zoe Quinn. It was so weird. And this was the entire thrust of the Gamergate conspiracy, was that this girl was being artificially protected, that she was actually leading an army of trolls and pretending that we needed to do something about men and gamers on the internet. And this is kind of like the preamble to the Hillary Clinton campaign, which became very much we kind of got into this anti-masculinity, men are toxic. It was kind of the preamble to that. And I think she had a real fear that if I had created this technology which could unmask trolls, that it was going to expose that everything the gamer conspiracy theorists were saying was true.
Wow.
That was my read on the situation. And so she was being protected. And I never really, I'm just not a gamer. I just didn't know. But the only people that actually gave me a fair shake in the media, who I spoke to, was Breitbart, which was crazy because I thought they were
just pausing for copyright purposes, because they could definitely ding this channel and stuff at any time they want to. So just don't forget to hit the like button on your way in. Make sure you hit the sub button if you are new to the channel. I definitely appreciate all the support. This is Candace Owens and Shawn Ryan's interview that drops, I believe, today, if I'm not mistaken, on YouTube. Usually it goes public after a couple of days after it's on his Patreon. I think it's today. So if it comes out today on YouTube, if you wanted to watch the whole thing on your own. But yeah, brand new interview with Shawn Ryan. It's going pretty good. I know she's talking about her personal life right now. The first hour to hour 15-ish, she was heavy into the Charlie Kirk stuff, if that's what you care about. This is more so she's been into like her personal life and all of that for the last 30 or so minutes. So that's what this part is about, which is still pretty interesting because we haven't really heard this much. Nobody's ever really questioned her about all of these things. So that's what she's going into right now. She still has 3 hours left. So clearly it gets good for them to talk this long.
White supremacist, my Connecticut Democratic surroundings, blue liberal-ish mind, I was really reticent to speak to them. And then they wrote the truth about what I had said. So I was kind of like, what the heck is going on? Why is up, down, and down, up? And at the same time, Trump was running. And so I was kind of questioning my allegiance to leftist media, so to speak, because of how I was treated. And I didn't really comprehend when I just told them the truth about this random chick. And Trump, they were saying, was like a racist, a white supremacist, all of this stuff. And I was willing to at least listen to the other side because I now did not trust the Washington Post. And so I decided to just listen to like a Trump speech without having it filtered for me by CNN or MSNBC. And I heard his like pitch to Black America, and he was in Dimmondale, Michigan at the time. And he said, Black America, and he sort of listed all of the ways in which Black Americans are struggling, like the statistics, just the raw statistics. And he said, why don't you just take a chance on me? What do you have to lose? Just do something different. You vote Democrat every 4 years. And I was like, fair elevator pitch. I like it. Whatever. Still not going to get my vote, but like, whatever. And then I pivoted to my trusted sources over at CNN, and like Don Lemon was like crying over, and was like, he looked Black America in the face and he said, you are poor, you are pathetic, you can't do this. And I was like, that didn't happen at all. That's not what he said. He gave a kind of reasonable pitch. You've been doing the same thing. Why don't you try something different? And so that began a huge, man, could I have had this thing wrong? Like, are Republicans not all racist and backwards? Like, is there something I'm missing here? And me just sort of being the naturally curious person that
It comes out today for free. Let me try it, because sometimes 1.5 is not that bad. Maybe not 1.5, like 1.25. They're gonna let me. All right, let me try 1.25. Sometimes when people have a lot of breaks between their words, it sounds normal. So it may not be too bad. If it is a little too fast, and we'll just slow it back down. It's no problem.
I am, who wants to learn more, I kind of privately began that pursuit, and it led me to Thomas Sowell and his work and his books, and it changed my life. I really love Thomas Sowell. I feel like he's like my private tutor who I've never met.
Right on. Do you still consider yourself to be a conservative?
I'm always going to be a conservative. I actually realized I always was a conservative. I was raised with my grandfather. He was conservative. A Republican?
Yeah, I guess there is a difference now, huh?
And I guess there always has been, because like I was liberal, but I wasn't a Democrat. I didn't vote Democrat. Or I thought I was liberal, but actually I was raised conservatively, and my values were always conservative, and I am a conservative. I think it works. I think family works, and that's the most. What are we conserving at the end of the day is the question. And to me, it's traditional families. I think that's our best guard against the government.
I think so too.
Just a quick side note, I never really got into the politics like that. However, being raised, all we really knew was just vote blue. That's just what it was for Black families. So I only voted one time ever, and that was in 2020 for Joe Biden, right after he said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. And my dumb self still went to the polls and voted for him. But like I said, I didn't really know too much. We're brought up to just vote blue no matter what. Never really understood why. But after Charlie Kirk died, and I got heavy into his content just to figure out who he was and why so many people were celebrating that, I actually realized that I was conservative through Charlie Kirk, just because I was like, first I was like, this is a no-brainer. I have never been a Democrat. How could I ever have voted for Joe Biden in 2020? That doesn't even make any sense. I've never been my entire personality and what I believe in, core values, and all of that stuff never aligned with Democrats or liberals whatsoever. So I'm like, why in the world did my whole life people say that we vote blue? I'm like, what? So that's when I had like this awakening, and I realized the second that I started saying like, yeah, well, if I'm gonna claim something, I don't believe in right and left and all of that, but if I'm gonna claim something, it's gonna be conservative. That makes the most sense. And a lot of people did not like to hear that, and I immediately was labeled coon and all that other stuff, and I was like, here now it makes sense why they call it the Democratic plantation, and there's a Republican plantation as well. But I'm like, now I get it. The second that you are black and you have other perspective and views, they label you as that versus having conversation trying to figure out why. But the second they hear conservative, the second they hear conservative, they immediately think MAGA, Republican, you're this token for white people, all types of stuff. And I was like, yeah, now I see why. Now I see why.
Honestly, I think that's almost the only, that's might be the only thing that we can really, I don't know. You had said something earlier about, we were talking about, do you feel like it's your responsibility to do what you do? And then you'd said you really trust your
definitely
gut
not a
when you're hiring
Republican.
people. I don't know, man. I trust my gut, but maybe I don't fucking trust my gut, because the lead up to this last election was just all lies.
Something happened to Trump, right?
But something happened to all of them.
Yeah. Well,
Every single one of them,
who else?
except Joe Kent.
I mean, what did you expect from Marco Rubio? Like,
Absolutely nothing.
absolutely,
Exactly what
yeah.
we see.
Exactly. The person that I think I placed stock in was Trump, and we got played. I mean, there's no other way to say it. We got, it's kind of shocking the ways that he lied. And so you have to then go, why? This is nothing like Trump 1.0. Trump 2.0 is totally different. And the obvious answer is, I think that Trump desperately, by any means necessary, wanted to win again. Felt the election, like many people do feel, was stolen from him in 2020. COVID, changing the way we vote. I totally agree with that, by the way. And his entire life's mission then transformed into, I will do anything to win again, including making a deal with the devil and selling my soul.
That's what you think happened.
And he took $300 million from Miriam Adelson, something that he once mocked Marco Rubio for doing. He tweeted once about Sheldon Adelson owning Marco Rubio. And you don't take $300 million from people who run the Vegas.
A very generous woman.
You don't take $300 million from people who run Vegas and tell them no about anything. That's how it works. That you could talk about that on the micro level. You know this stuff growing up, basic survival skills. Like when people, you don't borrow money from people unless you know who they are. Like, and that's can apply to
Videos on Patreon for $5, but it comes out, I think, sometime today, Thursday. So I wouldn't even pay for it if it's just gonna come out. Or you can just hop in YouTube live right now. It's on the screen. We're playing it.
to gangs. It's time to pay up. And so Trump is not his own man, plain and simple. Trump is not running this administration. It wasn't a gift. It wasn't, hey, I really love what you're doing. Here's $300 million. It came with contingencies, demands, one of it being that they wanted to annex the West Bank, which was something that was told to me by Charlie and Andrew Colbert, who were present for that meeting between Miriam Adelson and Donald Trump, that she said that. I'll cut you this check. But when we want to annex the West Bank, that's what they wanted in exchange. So now I think he probably has a little bit of regret taking the money.
You think so?
I think so. I don't think he likes not being his own man. I think that's what a lot of the lashing out is about. I think Trump, at his core, wants to be liked, and I think he knows he's not liked right now.
You think he'll ever be liked again?
No.
Me neither.
Mm-mm.
How much wealth has he amassed since he took this presidency?
The better question is, how much more do they need? How much more does the Trump family need? I mean, when Ivanka swimming to Albania, like, what how much more money do you guys need? When is enough enough?
Never.
Yeah. And that's why you feel like they fully have given themselves in, because none of them were like that before.
You don't think so?
No, I think I spent a lot of time with Don Trump Jr., and he was a real person. And he was certainly a very close friend of Charlie's. He shocked me the most after the assassination because I knew Don. And I challenged right away. I challenged him. I said, if Don Jr., who hunts, that's the guy, he knows the wilderness. If Don Jr. comes out and says he believes that Charlie's neck stuck to 30-06 bullet, I'll back off. I don't think Don Jr. has even spoken about Charlie's assassination since.
Dang. Holy.
I think a lot of people are going to go to hell for an eternity. I know a lot of people are going to go to hell for an eternity. But the level of talk about the mourning process of realizing that Charlie gave so much of his life to put those people into power.
Yes.
Contending with that level of betrayal transformed me.
Yeah.
I think it transformed everybody. And yes, I can't speak for Candace on if her theory genuinely changed from earlier on saying that he was popped in the neck to now she's on the conspiracy on the microphone. I don't know, but I can't speak for her. I have no idea. I can't guess, but we all knew that he wasn't, popped with a gun. But no, this was the crazy part. Seeing Charlie Kirk working so hard for Trump, and he almost somewhat looked up to Trump. Not somewhat, he definitely did. As like this another father. He tried to get so tight with these people. Like she said, Don Jr. and all these people went radio silent as soon as Charlie Kirk went down. It was so it's sad. And I think that's where a lot of us came in and it felt like a real life situation. I know these people are somewhat public figures, but it kind of felt like a real life situation because it felt like we all felt bad for Charlie more than the people that he was next to left and right every single day. So seeing Don Jr., somebody he was super close with, never comment on Charlie Kirk is crazy. That's the same reason I gave smoke to Tucker Carlson, because I'm like, yo, you was on his podcast, you was on his show, and you don't even say too much. Yes, you have people on and stuff like that, but he got all of this smoke because of you, Tuck. If we just being real, he told you to go max, and now you go in minimum. Yeah, a lot of people are scared. That's a whole other thing. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people's lives are in danger and all that other stuff. But it's crazy.
So to answer your question, no, I don't consider myself to be a Republican. Yes, I do consider myself
Yep,
to be
JD Vance too.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't even know what the.
No, I don't consider myself to be a Republican. Yes, I do consider myself to be a conservative.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't even know what the fuck this means. I don't even know if I'll ever vote again.
That's how I feel.
Probably not. I just, going through this and uncovering everything that we've uncovered, nothing's changed. I don't know about you, but for me, it's a fuck ton of stress. Being associated with these people, now they have my number, they can reach me. I fucking hate that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what was it all for? This shit that we see? Do you think this needed to happen?
What needed to happen?
This veil to be lifted?
Yeah, I have to believe that. I have to believe it. I am at my core an eternal optimist, and I don't want to give in to like despair. And I have to believe that Charlie was right, that his death was going to happen because it would be tied to a global awakening. And I've seen that. I've seen the seeds of that. I've seen the sprouts of that. I see the incredible audience that I have amassed around the world. I mean, going to Russia recently and realizing how big the Becoming Brigitte series was, I had no idea. There is true evil being exposed, and it was easy for evil to control the world when we were dumb and stupid and thought it was impossible, right? Some of these conspiracies. I mean, the fact that we are having real discussions about Freemasonry, about the occult, about true demons, about what demonic possession is, that you can sit here across from Father Ripperger. And I read the comments, and that was a transformative episode, by the way. But to see all the comments of like, I need to go to church now. This episode made me want to go to church. Not, this guy's crazy. What's he on? The Exorcist is just a movie, just a Hollywood movie. That's uplifting. I think that's uplifting, and it had to happen. I think we as a society needed shock treatment, and Charlie's death was shocking in so many ways. Not just the death, the administration's reaction to it, his wife. There's so many shock points. It shocked the senses in so many ways. It made us consider things that were so beyond the realm of what we, I think, could have ever thought feasible. I think his assassination had to be live streamed. And
What do you
people
mean?
who are
Why do you say
evil,
that? Some ritualistic thing, or
yeah. So for two witnesses, the people who orchestrated his assassination, it was ritualistic. I think that they wanted it to be publicized in that way because they thought they were then going to harness our emotion from having seen it to their benefit. And what it did was it certainly did harness emotion, but it was not to their benefit. The emotional reaction that happened, if they could have controlled it and built a conduit for it, would have been amazing. If they could have just channeled it as they wanted to, literally channeling energy, a form of witchcraft, right? And they wanted to channel that energy toward Erica, who in my honest to God perspective, I believe she is a tried and true psychopath, truly. And I'm not saying that to be theatrical. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I mean, a clinical psychopath.
She's not lying. I wanted to show y'all one thing just to show proof that we're not crazy at all. Like this is not some type of, this is obviously a psychological operation, but we aren't crazy. When people try to convince us that Tyler Robinson did it, we are not crazy. Look at this video really quick. It's 10 seconds. Look at Brian Harbaugh right here. I just want y'all to look at this and know that his wife does not care. I want to put it in slow motion.
In America, over the last.
Look at Brian Harbaugh. No reaction, but an action. Put something in his pocket and immediately went to Charlie. That is an action, not a reaction. So we're not crazy, and his wife doesn't give a freak about that. It's absolutely insane.
And I think that is what has shocked them, is that they couldn't do it. And so Charlie's death contributed to an awakening, and I have to keep that perspective that
keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even look into his own assassination attempt.
Trump,
Yeah.
Butler.
They
There's a
fucking
reason for
blocked
that.
the investigation.
Yeah. Mhm.
What do you think that was?
I covered that recently on my show, and it should be reopened. And I think it was a successful assassination of Corey Comparatore. I think
Was that the firefighter?
Mhm.
I met his daughter at
Did you?
the inauguration that I never should have fucking went to.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, they don't believe the story. They are not satisfied. His family is not satisfied with the investigation. And there was a strange set of circumstances of his best friend from high school having died a couple of years earlier from a plausibly PETN explosive. And I covered that recently. The
From a
strange.
Petin explosive?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He worked with them, and I covered it recently on my show.
The firefighter that was killed worked at the Petin plant?
His best friend died a couple of years earlier and worked at he was a supervisor at a company that dealt with Petin explosives because they perforated the wells for oil and gas companies, which requires the Petin explosive. He died in a mysterious set of circumstances in his backyard where he was burning stuff in a barrel and something exploded and ironically hit his neck, and he died instantly. His friends didn't believe the circumstances surrounding his death. I had heard rumors of an illegal explosives ring, sort of people getting Petin illegally. And Corey was this guy's friend since high school. There's a lot of questions about, shortly after Corey died, Israel did their beeper Petin explosive attack within like 2 months. It was very quickly. That's weird. All of this stuff could be considered conspiracy, but I think what adds weight to conspiracies are a lack of answers. When there's a lack of answers, conspiracies become weighted. And you can't tell me that it's normal for a man to survive an assassination attempt and shut down the investigation into his own assassination attempt. That doesn't make sense. Trump can't make that make sense.
You think he knows?
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's blocking the investigation. Is it him blocking it or is it the FBI?
Well, if Tucker is to be believed, you can decide whether you believe Tucker or whether you believe Dan Bongino. But I'm going to go with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, I'll go with Tucker on that.
I'm going to go with Tucker. And Dan's reaction to what Tucker said was very strange. He was like, "Oh, he's going to beat up Tucker Carlson or something." I was like, "Tucker Carlson's not going to fight you. What's wrong with you?" But he came undone when Tucker revealed the conversation they had, and Tucker seemed to be telling the truth. That Dan said that Trump blocked it personally. And that's reflected even in what Don Trump Jr. said. He said, "My dad is satisfied with the investigation. I'm not, and I'm going to leave it there." So clearly the directive had gone out from Trump that no more talk about Butler. So make that make sense. You survived an assassination attempt. You're now number one in charge of the country. Why would you not just...
I have no idea why you wouldn't want to know who's trying to fucking kill you.
Mhm.
It just makes...
This is like turning
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, they don't
I
want
don't
to
know why
hear
it
you.
makes sense to so many other fucking people, but
No.
it doesn't make sense to me. I would want to know who's trying to kill me.
Yeah. So there's something
Thanks, Shawn Ryan. Thank you for your insightful opinion.
we're missing about Butler. And it's the exact same like stage, so to speak, the exact same play as the Charlie Kirk assassination,
Mhm.
where everyone who should be the most curious about investigating is very much not curious about investigating, angry at people that are investigating, and attacking people who want to get answers. The public's going to notice that. The public's going to notice that something's not right.
Yeah.
And they're going to begin to suspect the people who purport to be the victims.
Why do you think nobody in this administration is speaking up? Do you think they're all under the same control, or are they all under Trump's control?
We know that Charlie represented almost a solitary voice, maybe outside of J.D. Vance's, in terms of trying to communicate to Trump that getting involved with Iran was a bad idea. That administration is not working for Donald Trump. They're working for Israel. Obviously, Trump is powerless. Everyone can see that.
It's just, I mean, I had Kash Patel sitting right across from me at the other studio, and we just went on and on about the Epstein shit. On and on and on. And then nothing.
Where's Kash Patel from? He's from Vegas.
Oh,
Kash Patel has never had any power in his life. His power came from that entire city was built by Israel. Miriam Adelson has served the IDF. Sheldon Adelson said his biggest regret was not having served the IDF. They've never been... Trump said it on stage. She's more loyal to Israel than she is to our country. It's not a secret. Vegas is a dangerous place. People say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Stays in Vegas and gets sent over to Tel Aviv.
and don't forget TPUSA just opened up another building, whatever you want to call it, in Vegas.
It's just a city of blackmail, to be honest with you. And they're all kind of tied there. They're all kind of tied, in my view, to Vegas. Andrew Colbert, he's from Reno. His dad did, legal work on the casinos. And it's like this thing. His brother served. It was, from the Reno unit that went over and were guarding the poppy seeds in Afghanistan. That was his brother, was like colonel lieutenant on that. That was just poppy trafficking. After that, we had the opioid crisis. What do we think these wars are about?
Mhm.
What did we win in Afghanistan? Poppy seeds. The opioid crisis.
What do you think is going to happen in the midterms? Actually, let me back up. Now you see Trump speaking out against Israel. You see Vance. I don't buy it either. You see Trump and Vance.
That's
now all of a sudden it's like
they're trying to win everybody back, making it seem like they big dog and they call the shots. And look, we do stand up to Izzy and all of that. Man, it's straight performative. They're trying to win everybody back at the last second.
Where the fuck did this come from?
It all seems very performative.
I don't know why Shawn Ryan cuts so much. I think it's probably for dramatic effect, or he might genuinely talk like that. I don't know.
Me, and I'm not sure why they're moving to, I guess, this new act, so to speak.
Because they're destroyed.
No,
Yeah, maybe because
They're
midterms are
completely destroyed.
maybe because midterms are around the corner.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're fucking destroyed.
So they're going to pretend he's like Mr. Tough Guy again and standing up to Bibi. It's all very performative.
Do you think people are going to buy this shit?
No.
Do you think Israel's in on the act?
Yes.
Me too.
I think you should take the Mossad at their word when they say we are the directors, the actors, we can infiltrate any organization, any company. We're the script writers. I believe that.
That's a 60 Minutes interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After referring to, how they were able to infiltrate and get the PETN explosive pen into the beepers and how they created all these fake companies with fake employees. And I think about when I hear those words, Charlie and his life, and how I think it became an Israeli Truman Show. But similar for Trump. Everyone around him is just working for a higher boss, and it's the Rothschilds and it's Israel. So all of that is performative. I mean, I couldn't be motivated to vote for midterms.
Yeah, me neither.
Especially after what we saw happen with Thomas Massey, where they're just so in our face about it now, where they're like, we don't like you. If you have a point against Israel, we'll spend.
That's the only thing I can't really put together in my head is we see this act. We see all of a sudden everybody's a tough guy against Israel. Like, oh, right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right around the corner from midterms. But I also don't really believe in the election system because of all kinds of shit we've seen. Spencer Pratt's race, probably the most recent one, Massey's race. So if the elections are phony, then why do they give a shit about the act?
Because the illusion matters.
Why does it matter?
Because
it's an illusion. I don't know what Candace finna say. She's way smarter than me on this topic, but it's an illusion. It's like this. We live in democracy illusion where they want to make it seem like the people have the power. Like we have control, we have a vote, we have a voice, when really we don't. The two people that are selected from both parties are already handpicked by the elites. They have already signed over their life to be a puppet for the elites. If they didn't, they wouldn't even be in that position. So they have to make it seem like we have this power, therefore we continue to constantly do it. When in reality, it's already written. They already know who they're going with. They already know either party is going to do exactly what the elites say, and it's a forever going process. It's sick, but that's just what it is.
They need, think about if truly tomorrow they came out and said, your vote doesn't mean anything. We've been running the elections since the beginning of time. We kill people in broad daylight. Yeah, we did JFK. We did Charlie and we're going to keep doing whatever the hell we want. So F you.
You think something would actually happen?
Yeah. Because it's actually something Charlie said to me when we were traveling once. He said, one of his little pop quizzes. What is one thing that every civilization who's ever had that has ever had slavery since the beginning of human history? What is one thing that every single one of those civilizations has in common?
They have more slaves.
I don't know.
I didn't know either. And he said there were always more slaves than masters. That always stuck with me. The few are able to get all of us to behave. So what they fear is a real revolution. That's why they always stoke the flames of internal unrest, because if all of us were in lockstep and we were like, let's go kill these pedophiles, let's go take care of business, that's the biggest threat to the system.
And it would be simple. That's why Charlie Kirk had to happen. That's why they paid certain people to push the regular narrative, so that way we can just sit here and argue with each other. I feel like this is a freaking common sense topic, but now it's been politicized that Charlie Kirk has been killed. But I feel like it's a common sense topic. He was not killed by Tyler Robinson. Everybody should be rallying together. That way we can actually be mad about something and the government be held accountable. But they have already paid X amount of people to push the other narrative. That way we just fight with each other. Same way as why the left fights with the right. Charlie Kirk has become a topic of who do you stand for? It's a political topic now. It's simple. Like that, it just continues to happen over and over again.
A revolution that they don't control. So instead they create revolutions over stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
Trans bathroom rights. Keep them focused and arguing about stuff that doesn't matter at all. BLM, racial strife, Why isn't there a George Floyd Square? This is fodder for idiots. While they buy islands, they take up land.
Samantha, thank you for donating and supporting the channel. Thank you so much.
And they destroy heritage. They rewrite history. 20 years from now, they'll say, you already heard, I think, Jerry Seinfeld say Palestine doesn't exist. He's a man of the future. They'll rewrite history. They'll say they were the victims. It all started on October 7th. And they'll wipe away entire identities. I mean, good for the people in Albania who are standing up to the Israeli settlers right now. Don't know what their plan is there, but something's going on. And that's their biggest threat. So they have to get you to believe in the illusion of elections because you have to think you can change it and that your voice matters.
Yep.
Who do you think is going to be the next president? I mean, Polymarket right now puts Vance at the top.
Let me look. if JD Vance wins, then I mean you just know it's rigged. Nobody likes JD Vance anymore. I did at one point, but no.
And then 2 points below is Rubio and Gavin Newsom tied.
Rubio, what? Absolutely not. I mean, maybe with APAC money, anything can
Rubio's
happen.
Trump's golden boy.
Yeah, maybe with APAC money, anything can happen. You know, I'm not into political prognostications. I wouldn't put any of those people. If we had a fair system, I wouldn't put any of those people in the bucket for who would be the next president. I mean, if we're talking about on the Democratic side, yeah, I think they're going to run Gavin Newsom. That's probably accurate. But on the Republican side, there is an apathy that's setting in. And I don't see how Vance gets around everything Trump did. I don't see how Vance gets around what happened in Iran. I don't see how Vance is able to talk his way out of that.
He in
Oh,
the
well, let me
same
tell you how.
he in the same situation as Kamala Harris. That people gonna ask him, would you do anything different than Trump? And because he sold his soul to this whole political system, he's gonna say, no, I wouldn't do anything different. I think Trump did a phenomenal job. You lost everybody, buddy, off that one comment. Same as Kamala when they asked, would you do anything different than Joe Biden? She said no. And then now she wrote a whole book talking about I would have did so many things different. That's y'all fault. You signed a deal with the devil.
All these Catholics are really leaning into being Catholic now because it's the fastest growing Christian denomination in the world. So they're leaning into that.
I don't think that's going to be enough.
You don't think so?
Nope.
They're leaning into it pretty hard. Have you seen it?
I think he missed an opportunity to stand up to Trump on some of those points. And his unnecessary tweet against the Pope. I don't think that Catholics are tough.
I know.
That's
I'm just
one
saying.
group that have not been socially engineered. So
I'm
to speak.
watching.
Yeah.
And they're really trying to tap into it.
I don't think it's going to work. I think people are so much more awake to, and especially and I'm going to call this, and I don't mean to attack Vance on this, but just more broadly speaking, the faith grift post Charlie. People have their antennas up because that's been the entire turning point thing. And it has not registered, it's felt inauthentic. And sure, that was like a part of the evangelical world, but there have been a lot of, I think, missed opportunities for Vance to not write about being a Catholic or say he's a Catholic, but to stand up to the stuff that's happening in the administration that's just downright ungodly. You know, you bomb a school with 150 schoolgirls in it, and then they lie about it. And then it's sort of like, whatever. I don't know if he wanted us to do it. I think it's going to be hard for him to get around it. So but anything can happen in a world where elections are fake and gay. Anything can happen. Marco Rubio could be the next president of the United States. Someone they can control.
I hope Massey runs. I hope Joe Kent runs.
He's great.
I really like Joe Kent.
I would definitely vote for Joe Kent. On surface level, without doing any deep dives into who the guy actually is, seems like a phenomenal, great guy. I would definitely vote for Joe Kent.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I'd like to see him run as well. And I think the way that he resigned and wrote about his conscience and also the nastiness that Trump threw at him about his wife, I was just absolutely shocked.
Nothing makes my skin crawl more than a fucking piece of shit that never served the fucking country talking shit about a guy who served the country, whose wife was fucking assassinated by Al-Qaeda with one of my really good fucking friends, Scotty Words.
I'm glad he did it.
His frustration is valid. I was just, Lord have mercy, Shawn. But his frustration is valid because Joe Kent is such a great dude from what it seems like. And I could not believe they attacked a widow. Right? Is that what you would refer to a guy that loses his wife? Is a widow or widower? But I couldn't believe they attacked a widow when we've been told not to. And they went at Joe Kent like crazy. I know he's remarried now, but boy, they disrespected him like crazy when he resigned. So I do feel his pain on that one because he served for 14 some years, all these tours, wife dies in a suicide bombing. And I didn't mean to say suicide. They're gonna probably ding me for that, but it was sad. I felt bad.
Because I think servicemen and women needed to see that. Because that is the perspective that Israel holds of the men that serve. I believe that. I believe that it is, you are toy soldiers and
we're slaves.
Yeah, you're slaves.
We're slaves.
Yeah.
We're all slaves.
Mm-hmm. I've had a real awakening about
We
that.
have to be tax mules sending our money to Israel.
And our sons and daughters to die for them.
Yep.
And people should not serve. I've been strong on that. It's like our country's occupied. You are not signing up to serve for the United States military. Your streets are not going to become more paved. Your streets are not going to become safer. Your schools are not going to become better. Theirs will. So if that is a draw for you, then sign up and serve the United States of Israel. But this is where we can make a difference.
I just
They
had a
need
really
bodies in
good friend
Iran.
get deployed, a Green Beret. I won't even say what group he's at. And he jokingly, but you can see it in his fucking eyes, says, I'm getting deployed early. I got to go fight for Israel. And you could just, he wants out. He's talking about
Leave. That's simple. There's a legal means to leave the military, and I encourage on my show every man and woman to do it. Because at the end of the day, the best laid plans don't work without bodies. And I think they learned that lesson in Iran. They couldn't get people to get behind it. That's why they need the propaganda machine. They needed people to be behind it, and they weren't. And that terrifies them, truly. The idea of Americans not signing up for the military, that's an existential threat. I could see it in Pete Hegseth's eyes as he's like, we're going to raise the age. People to join the military. I bet you are. What does that tell me? Numbers are low. People are waking up. So if you want to go be big bad and take over Palestine and do it with your sons and daughters.
I mean, for a Green Beret to not want to go to war, one of the fucking highest trained units in the fucking United States, like legit war fighters, doesn't want to go to war because he knows it's not for us. And he's not the only one. It's all of them. It's fucking all of them.
And when you get back, you could be so lucky as to have given your entire body to have lifelong ailments, to not be able to get appointments at the VA. And if you're really lucky, I mean, really lucky, the president can tweet mocking the fact that your wife died and you got remarried serving the country.
Yep.
Candace be
Who doesn't wanna sign
on
up?
one, bro. Oh
Sign up
my
today.
gosh.
Well, I mean, now there's all this talk about the draft.
Why?
Yep.
Who doesn't want to sign up? Sign up today.
Well, I mean, now there's all this talk about the draft.
Why? Because it's not there. But guess what? You're better off spending a year in jail than going to fight for Israel. So it's like, how far are they going to take this? Are they going to be like Ukraine, dragging people off the street like thugs?
Probably.
That's the threat that they need. You can't. Okay, you guys want it, Zionists? You're so big and bad and powerful. Send your sons and daughters. Your sons and daughters first. I will not let my boys won't serve. Not in this environment. It's an honor to serve.
Bro, I love this woman, bro. I don't care what people say about maybe in the past she's pushed propaganda. I have no idea. My life's been restricted on TikTok. I don't know what I said, bro. Whatever. I love this woman. She is the most closest person to real. Like when it comes to, are you a real person? You know, these folks in politics are so fake. She's the closest one to it. If we can say you feel like a normal individual. So I don't care what goes around and all of that stuff. She is one of one. There's not too many people. I can't even maybe name one that is real as Candace. I'm telling you, the fire is amazing. Kyle, thank you for supporting the channel. The episode was real talk for real. Absolutely. She is, oh man, she got me fired up right now, bro. That is crazy. Our love seek truth. Thank you for supporting the channel. Baron said he's sitting on lots of evidence and he named his price at $25 million for him to stop and go work for TPUSA. He wasn't laughing. It's not a joke in my opinion. I'm sure he does have a lot of information. I can't wait for him to reveal some of these things so that way TPUSA can get out and say something, because TPUSA has definitely ignored and not said much. So hopefully he drops something that gets them to shiver. Kyle, thank you for supporting the channel again. You could tell Candace is real. Never seen Erica real. No, we haven't. We haven't seen Erica real at all. I think the only time we've seen her real is when they talked about her true country, which is Izzy on the Barry Wise interview. And she said, you hate is brain rot, and started crying. I'm like, bro, okay. Okay, Shalami, you got it.
The country that we live in right now, the occupied country that we live in right now.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Or when she denied that boyfriend allegation. Oh, she came out quick then. She came out very quick. I don't have a boyfriend. She denied that less than 12 hours.
We're getting invaded. I'm done going overseas.
The best thing to do is
Everybody else
to
should be
defend
too.
your neighborhoods, defend your families, build smaller communities. That's what I encourage people to do. I'm learn to farm. That's the real difference you can make.
Let's take another break. All right, Candace, we're back from the break, and let's get back to you. Degree 180.
Yeah, just a blog that I had when I was young. I just loved to write. I was always writing. I mean, my earliest memories writing was like in 3rd grade. I was writing poems. Like as soon as I could learn to write, it felt like such an escape for me. I used to like write songs and poetry, and I just still love writing. I'm like one of the rare people that actually wrote both of her books. People usually get a ghostwriter, and it's probably my favorite pastime. Like it's something that I genuinely enjoy doing for me. And so with Degree 180, I had got a bunch of girls together to just put together a blog and let everybody write about whatever they wanted to write about, which is funny because now they take articles that I didn't write, but because it was like my blog, but it clearly was written by another person. It would be like, she operated a blog where someone said that Trump had tiny hands. And I'm like, yeah. And someone else, did a whole article bashing Hillary. Writing is expression. I let everybody write whatever they wanted to write. And so, yeah, it was a fun passion project of mine.
Where do we go from there?
From there, I then started making videos on YouTube. It was all pretty back to back. And I launched my YouTube channel in August of 2017, right? I think is when I launched my YouTube channel as Red Pill Black, and just started when BLM stuff was heating up. I sort of was making funny videos on YouTube, and they did pretty well. It would get 100,000 views here, which is great for a new content creator.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I did this little funny skit, Mom, Dad.
And I do want people to leave like Candace's past, you know what I mean? It's just irrelevant at this point because yes, we all know that Charlie was looking for, plants to push back against BLM back then and all that stuff. So that's kind of like where Candace and Baron Tatum came from. And they were the perfect people for it. They're Black and they got a strong, powerful voice that they could push against the narrative and all that stuff. However, at the end of the day, they were speaking truth. And this is pre, Brandon Tatum before the $7,000 checks. They were speaking facts. And so regardless if they were hired for propaganda and pushing certain narratives and stuff like that, they were speaking facts. It was very true and very real. And they both went on to continue to do the same thing and be great people to listen to. Those two people I used to listen to all the time before Charlie. I didn't really listen to Charlie like that. I just knew of him. So yeah, I just don't want people to like hold that, and always try to bring that up.
I'm a conservative, which I wrote. My cousin, who I was telling you was the person that was with me the most when I was really sick. I was just kind of coming out of that. She recorded it, I wrote it, and we just shot it, and it did pretty well. And then I think it was like the 3rd video I did. There's an account online. I don't know if you're familiar with Anomaly. He lifted the video, and it was me discussing Black Lives Matter, I think it was, and he put it onto Facebook, and it got 26 million views.
26 million views.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it went absolutely viral.
And that's your 3rd video.
Yeah, I don't know if it was about BLM, actually. It was my 3rd video, and it was about, I can't remember what the topic was, which is so crazy to me, but it just went completely viral. And then I got the call from Fox News. It was Jesse Waters' team that said, come on, Waters World. And the rest really was history. I got an invite to go.
Oh, wow. I got banned off of TikTok for spreading misinformation. Sorry, people. Hopefully y'all been following the YouTube channel. That way you can just hop right over here. I'll have to submit an appeal, all that good jazz. But I just got banned and suspended off TikTok for spreading misinformation. I'm not showing anything over there. It's literally just my face. But here we are, right? We live in a free country. That's why I say it's an illusion. We're not really free. It's a dark, dark thing to think about. So I'm not trying to go there, but it's crazy.
Happened so quickly. It was unbelievable. After doing Fox News, I then got an invite to go down to David Horowitz's Freedom Center. And that's where I met Charlie. And people told me had to hire me. Like after I gave my little presentation, I was just on a panel talking about my experience. And yeah, it went.
So you started your own YouTube channel, did 3 videos. Then you get connected with Charlie Kirk.
That is the truth. In that order, it must have been my 3rd or 4th video. It was super quick. And I can't remember the topic. Maybe it was feminism. It was, just some topic that I was riffing on. It just went absolutely viral. Got 26 million views.
Is that video still up?
Yeah, it's still the same YouTube channel. You can go back and watch the early days skits with very poor quality camera, just doing it from my granddad's house. And it was just, literally me and my cousin. And I was like, can you hold the camera? I'm just going to film something. And then I edited it myself. and put it up as Red Pill Black was the moniker I was using. And it was fun. You know, it was very fun. And then I just sort of started doing videos talking about various topics. And then Charlie hired me to do the same thing for Turning Point USA and then to be the communications director because I think he thought she's good at communicating and she's able to get all these people to watch your videos. And we just then had an absolute blast. Then we were traveling everywhere, the entire country, other countries, doing just building.
What channel is this on?
Which channel?
Is the channel called Red Pill
Yeah,
Black?
you can just name your YouTube channel whatever you want, the Shawn Ryan Show. I just named mine Red Pill Black because I was thinking like, oh, here's a red pill for Black America was kind of my thought process there. And then I think it was Charlie who told me you don't want to have people meeting you and going, oh, you're Red Pill Black, you know, you want to use your name. And it's like, oh, okay, so I just switched the channel name over to Candace Owens. And yeah, I still have.
Is that your channel or is that Daily Wire's channel?
No, I had to pause my channel. I really kind of paused it when I started working for Turning Point USA because then I was making videos for them. And so you'll see that gap. I kind of only made a few videos really and then completely stopped and was doing work for Turning Point USA and still making videos, but making the content for them. So it was TPUSA videos really about various topics, which were still, you know, doing very well. And then had kind of the firepower of I don't have to edit my own videos and things of that nature. Then when I took the job then I was at PragerU. So
Hold on. So I mean, I know you and Charlie were obviously very close. How fast did that relationship develop?
Right away, because it was such a small organization. This is before they had the offices in Arizona, right? So Turning Point was small. If I remember correctly, and people could obviously go back to the public company, but they were under 10 million a year, I think. When I want to say like they had cleared like 6 million a year, maybe. And it was fun. When it's a small company and it feels like a startup, it's really fun. You got to work harder, sleep less, but that's when like the best memories are made. And Charlie was wired to work like that. And I, just from my grandfather, am wired to work like that. And so we just lived out of a suitcase, doing every possible event. Charlie had this thing where you do every single Fox News show. So we were up at the crack of dawn to do Fox and Friends First, which is in the 4:00 a.m. hour, wherever we were, because they have, you know, their little studios that you can run to and do a hit, to staying up until you finally got the call to do one of the big ones, which for us at the time, it was you get the call to do Laura Ingraham or Tucker Carlson. We were like, or Shawn.
Not Shawn Ryan.
I almost said Shawn Ryan. You should see how naturally I was like, Shawn, that's not Shawn Ryan. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name now. That's ridiculous. Shawn on Fox News. Hannity. Gosh, I was like, why can I not think of his name? It's because of you, because you're in front of me. Or Shawn Hannity. That was what you were building up toward. And so Charlie was always like, you want to do every show because the producers for the other show are watching this show. And if you're good on this show, he had this whole map of how it was going to work. And so he never say no to any show. And so we did every Fox News show, every hit. Yes, we'll do it, while trekking throughout the United States, living out of a suitcase, the cheapest hotel rooms imaginable. Like literally the walls were so thin, a lot of them were airport hotels. Like I could just hear Charlie turning on the shower. I could hear Charlie snoring. There's just a thin, you know, almost like a sheet of paper between our rooms. And it was fun. I mean, there are so many just little things like that I reflect on now that are just so funny. Like if you get somewhere and then suddenly your suitcase didn't come through and you're going, oh, I said we'd have to get up at the crack of dawn, find the earliest Walmart, buy a blazer so that we could do the Fox News hit at 6 a.m. And it was madness. A lot of coffee, a lot of Chipotle, so much Chipotle.
And just a side note, no, I haven't, you know, a couple of people asked, no, I haven't like lost faith in Barron or Candace or anything like that. Because some people ask if when the last time I watched Barron. Yes, it has been a few episodes. No, I haven't lost faith or anything like that. But I have received a lot of, you know, criticism as far as like critiquing their style. So I just took a step back. That's all. It's nothing personal at all. Well, I guess I'm about to say to you the word personally, but it's nothing against, you know, anything in general. Personally, you know, it does pain me like deep down when I hear Barron say that he has so much evidence, because he said that before. I have so much evidence that I'm sitting on, and hearing that inside truly like gets me going. And again, this is no disrespect to anybody's personal investigation that they're doing. I do know that these things take time and stuff like that. But when I'm really like locked in, I do get very fired up when I know that there's things out there that could be released to, you know, help for the greater good. And so instead of critiquing or anything like that. People really don't want to hear me do that. They get very sensitive. So instead, I said, you know what? I'm gonna just allow them to do what they do, and then just wait. But that's where I'm at on that. I just know that he's said that a couple of times. Personally, I don't really like hearing that all the time when someone's always talking about they have so much stuff. I don't really like hearing that. So I was like, okay, let me just, take a step back and then wait for things to drop and then go from there. But yes, I haven't, completely think that Baron sold us our Candace. So I haven't thought that at all. I just don't like being like led on. And again, that probably sounds negative. I'm really not trying to be negative. So have an open heart when I'm saying that, because I'm really annoyed of hearing the negative attacks and comments just because I'm talking about your favorite podcaster and I critique something. I'm so annoyed with hearing that. So
we ate so much Chipotle. I can't believe I don't have stock in that company. And we kept being like, they have got to hire us to they have to do an ad agreement with us or something, because we're eating this much of it, drinking a ton of Starbucks. And yeah, I mean, just really traveling with someone is the fastest way to get to know someone. I can tell you that for free. You really get to see the person. You know what I mean? There's no glam in traveling like that. And who they are in the morning time, nighttime, how they pack their suitcase. Sometimes you get to a room and his room's ready and my room's not. And so, but I'm excited to take a nap. And so he's like, I'm going to go for a run. You can go nap in my room. Then we're exchanging. And so, yeah, you get to see people at their worst. And at the same time, I think one of the things that made me and Charlie so close, because I think about why we sort of had this unbreakable bond despite everything. And if you think about your life, who are the people that you actually feel the closest to? It's people that you grow up with, right? Like there's something about those early relationships. And I think about the people that I went to high school with, there's something, it's so unique and so special because it's a coming of age. And it was the same with Charlie. We had a certain type of coming of age together in politics. Neither of us was very well known, right? We were very idealistic about what politics was. We thought we could change things.
How old were you when you started turning?
I was a lot older than Charlie was. I was 26.
26?
Yeah. And I want to say Charlie was 20. Don't quote me on this. I feel like I was 26 when I started making my videos, but I might not have been. And then Charlie would have been like 21. I have to figure that out, but that sounds about right to me. Maybe
They're still kind of growing up together.
And look at that. Candace was 26, Charlie was 21. Candace used to help Charlie with his first girlfriend, all the other stuff. And she treated him like a little brother that he was. Because people try to spin a narrative that they had some type of relationship, romantic, and Candace really wanted him. I'm like, are y'all hearing yourself? A 26-year-old mature woman, at least more mature than Charlie, and that's just keeping it a buck. No, she did not want Charlie. She did not wish Charlie picked her. It is so weird when y'all bring that up. However, I can think of a 28, 29, 30-year-old woman, whichever one it was between that range, named Erica Franchfay, that somehow found interest in a 24-year-old Charlie Kirk, a 24-year-old version, by the way, Charlie Kirk, and a 28, 29-year-old Erica Franchfay who had a roster of athletes. So she had a lot of experience and she'd been in and out of the industry. And she somehow wanted this 24-year-old version Charlie Kirk. That's weird. But y'all want to sit here and say Candace wished that Charlie chose her. Candace was literally talking to his one and only fling that he had and had to text the girl. Bro, don't get me started.
Yeah, but it's so different though when it's growing up. Then there's like that growing up that happens.
I mean, you also knew each other before it all happened.
That's what I mean. We weren't well known. Neither of us was well known. Like when I started working for Turning Point USA, I didn't have even 10,000 followers on. I think I had got like 30,000 followers on X that were following my video. So I wasn't well known. Charlie wasn't well known, and we were trying to build something, and like we thought we could really change things. So there's an innocence there too, where you're like, wow, we're in the excitement of like looking back on the messages, like Don Trump Jr. just retweeted me. You know what I mean? Like he knows I exist, and this person just retweeted me, and so Laura Ingraham just asked me to do her show for the first time. Like, and there's an innocence even looking back and reflecting. And Charlie's like, by this time next year, you're gonna have 100,000 followers, right? And so there was a coming of age I think is what made us so close. And then also realizing, whoa, politics is really nasty business. And then people that, because we were so naturally trusting, we thought that this could be a fair game. Like, we're going to work hard. And Charlie used to always say, we can always, what is the one thing we can control? We can always outwork our opponents. That's the one thing in our control. And we did. We outworked them. And that's how we climbed. And, you know, the moment of then Kanye tweeting me, like, never forget that morning. I was just in tears, calling Charlie and just being like, we made this happen. And everything really sort of exploded after that. But that's what it is, I think, is it's a coming of age, and you can't rip that away. You can't rip that away to see people in that environment and watch them come up and watch them navigate so many snakes and to earn where they are. Like, Charlie earned that, and I fought and I earned that. And then to watch people cut his life short, and then to watch people who didn't earn it say it's mine now.
Yeah.
I don't know, this doesn't work for me.
What was the goal back then? What were you guys doing?
Well, my goal was to change Black America. And I'm laughing because it just seems like my worldview was so small, and realizing what the problem was. It's like, I'm going to get Black America to realize that the Democrats are lying to them about Black Lives Matter and keeping us focused on race issues, because we're not ever going to get ahead. But it's so much bigger than Black America. It's all of America, and all of us focus on various issues. And so that was like my micro issue. I cared deeply about wanting to wake up Black America. And also, I was pretty passionate about the feminism thing too. Charlie truly wanted to rebuild the RNC and make it palatable for the youth, and build an organization based on free markets and capitalism, and showing the youth that, like, actually it's kind of cool to have a brain when you're young too, and to make conservatism hip, I guess, amongst a very liberal organ of college campuses. And he did that. He
That's what it was back then. It was going to campuses.
Yeah, it was all about disrupting college campuses, which had become sort of these centers for indoctrination. And we just felt like we could change that. We could change the world. And, you know, maybe one day Charlie was going to be president. I know his biggest goal at that time was, he used to listen to Rush Limbaugh. Like, Rush Limbaugh was his Roman Empire. Like, really, he loved Rush Limbaugh. And so the way that I felt when Kanye tweeted me, because I was always more cultural, and I knew what Kanye meant to culture for, you know, people like me who grew up and didn't know if you'd sort of ever, I don't know, get out of the thing.
We're doing pretty good. We 2 hours and 43 minutes in. So a little under 2 hours left. I'm still okay right now. I told you I'm just gonna watch it until I get sleepy. I'm still okay right now though. So we are good. Thank y'all for listening. I'm just pausing for a break, obviously for copyright purposes. I'm trying to continue to keep saying that. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you're on your way in or you're on your way out. Make sure you hit the sub button if you are new to the channel. If you don't know what's going on, if you don't know who at least I am, we stream quite often. There's a lot of shows, a lot of lives. So make sure you guys tune in to your episodes when we go back to normal, when we resume. But we actually had to take a little pause and let the queen speak for a couple of days. So that's what we're doing right now. Cal, thank you for supporting. Najee, keep doing it. Keep doing it. You're killing it. I just about trust Barron. Hasn't been dishonest so far. All I'm saying. Yeah, and again, I'm for sure on the right side of this thing. So I thank and appreciate Barron and Candace. I've given them their flowers a million times. And I can't do nothing but appreciate them. Without them, we wouldn't be this far into the investigation. You know, like I said, personally, I just know that it's hard to go after the angle of, like, you know, I'm trying to catch TPUSA in the trap, because a lot of people, not only Barron is doing it, a lot of people are doing it, trying to catch TPUSA in the trap, trying to catch them in a lie. Personally, I've heard them lie 54 times. So that's why I'm like, listen, if we're going after TPUSA, trying to see if they're gonna lie, do you? But like, I can't really fully invest in it because we already know they're liars. You know what I mean? So that's really all it is. That's why I'm like, you know, he can for sure go do his thing, and I'll be right there for it whenever he exposes it. But he has done a phenomenal job. Candace has done a phenomenal job. That's just really my only thing. I don't think he's a traitor or nothing like that. Barron deserves his flower. Candace deserves flowers, and everybody else in this podcast space, whether you're a commentator like myself, whether you do your own research, because there's a lot of other people. I try to share everybody's videos that I can. Everybody does a phenomenal job. I just, you know, personally, I'm just over the waiting on TPUSA to respond, because I believe there's like 3 or 4 task items that many people are like, GBUSA should respond to this. I'm like, they're not going to. We know that. That's why are we waiting on them to do an action item? So that personally is something that I can't just like wait around for. Lily Lang, thank you for supporting the channel. Bless you, my friend. My friend or my friend fiend? Another new sub here. Keep going. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for subbing. Thank you so much.
So to speak, for him, he felt that way about Rush Limbaugh. And so when Rush Limbaugh said on his radio show, like mentioned, there's this young guy, Charlie Kirk. I mean, Charlie was like made. Like that was his moment, was just, he listened to Rush Limbaugh every day on the drive to school when he was young. So that's who sort of shaped his ideas. So I should say actually two people who I know who were conservative when they were young. Charlie too, apparently. Some things like my husband, like, what do you mean you weren't liberal when you were young? It sounds so much more fun. But Charlie was, yeah, these are like these boy genius or whatever. And so he was really shaped by Rush Limbaugh. And yeah, you know, by the end of his life, he would know Rush Limbaugh, like on, just pick up the phone and call him. And he wanted to one day have a radio show. He was like, you realize every day, day in, day out, just 3 hours of radio and the grind of that. And he wanted to one day have his own show, Charlie, and be like Rush Limbaugh. And so when he finally did it, when he did the Charlie Kirk show and it was doing so well, I knew that he would crush it, because I was like, he was so passionate about building this. And it's also why it positively disgusts me to see what the show has become, because it is the opposite of what Charlie wanted it to be. It's the opposite of what inspired him. It's the opposite of what Rush Limbaugh was. You know, but that's why it's not doing well, because nothing that's not real will survive.
My editor in there wanted me to ask you about the maroon shirts.
The maroon shirts.
The maroon shirts. Do you know
Yeah.
anything about this?
No, I was the person who brought it to attention. They laughed at me, and I know nothing about the military, but I just, when I looked at the footage of Charlie and what happened on September 10th, it struck me as highly unusual that there were so many men wearing maroon shirts. Like, it's not exactly a color that men wear all the time. And there were a lot of men, all of whom were alone, I might add, who went to just hear Charlie Kirk speak alone, and they were wearing maroon shirts. And I just said to myself, this feels like organization to me. Like they're wearing maroon shirts to identify each other. And lo and behold, I then learned that from military men, that when they do operations, it's a way for, like, they'll have a color of the day, which is a way for them to like identify each other if they're doing something, whether it's, you know, covert operations or whatever. And I believe that those boys that were wearing maroon shirts were all a part of the same, I don't know if it's going to be like an overseas battalion, whatever it is, that they're
An identifier.
And I have a tape of one person after the shot goes off bending down low and handing another guy a maroon shirt, which is even crazier, which I haven't even, I don't even think I spoke about on my show. They just hands him a maroon shirt, caught on just the very bottom of the camera. And I'm like, pass around a maroon shirt after a shot goes off. That feels kind of weird. So there was an element, which makes sense, that you would color coordinate so you know where to look. Men just don't wear maroon that often, is what I would say.
Wow. Why did you wind up? I mean, it sounds like you really liked working there. Why did you leave?
Turning Point changed. After it was a couple of factors at play, but Turning Point, like I said to you, I always love a startup vibe. It's fun, there's more freedom. And after the Kanye tweet, and I'm saying this reflectively, hindsight's 2020, everything changed. Like Turning Point was suddenly on the map. Kanye put it on the map, whether people want to recognize that or not. Suddenly everyone's going, who is this Candace Owens? I love the way Candace Owens thinks. Well, Candace Owens was working for Turning Point USA. And suddenly money started coming in. They started telling, you know, Charlie needed the PR person. He needed this person. He needed to get this woman, Stacey Sheridan, and donations. I mean, just like the whole thing became much more corporatized. And I had warned Charlie about, I didn't like some of the characters that were being brought around him. And I didn't love the 501c3 world in general. It goes against my natural character. Charlie was such a great diplomat. And he would take the abuses from the donors. The bigger the check, the more control, is what I recognized very quickly. And that's not a game that I think I'm naturally made to play. And so a point arrived where, and in retrospect, it's interesting, somebody had pulled an old tape of me and presented it out of context of me and Charlie in London, where we were asked a question about nationalism. They stripped the question and they made it look like I was on stage preaching about Hitler, like, and saying, if Hitler just wanted to be in Germany, that'd be great. But what I was saying was, they said, doesn't nationalism feel like a dirty word? Like, how can you say you're a nationalist? And I was like, Hitler wasn't a nationalist. You know, if Hitler was like, hey, I'm just want to be in Germany and make America great, like, that wouldn't be problematic. He was a globalist. He had global aspirations. Long story short, they made this video go viral out of nowhere. And I always now go back to that and I wonder who did that. And suddenly, like, a Jewish group issued a thing saying that I was like anti-Semitic. It was so crazy. And donors were calling him, telling him that like he needed to pull back away from me. It's so funny to think that this was another Zionist scandal. And I was so shocked at this time because I just grew up in a very Jewish, I had never been accused of being an anti-Semite. And
This was
yeah,
way
this was,
before.
oh my gosh. I was like genuinely hurt. And that's how it feels the first time you're called something that you're not before you realize it's a political game, right? When someone's first like, you're a racist or like you're an anti-Semite, it is so shocking. Like I had Jewish best friends growing up. I was just going like, how would they ever say this? Why would BuzzFeed make this video go viral? Why is there suddenly this group? And I can't remember, it was the Simon Wiesenthal Center who issued a strong condemnation, and they have a lot of power about my words. And I'm like, why are they all intentionally not showing the full remarks of what I was answering to? I didn't even say Jewish, nothing. It just was about, the question was Hitler a nationalist? Can we be nationalistic without being accused of being Adolf Hitler? There were journalists in the room. There was no issue with it. And somebody very clearly went back and tried to find what they could scandalize. And I now have the perspective that this was an intentional scandal that was made whole cloth out of thin air. And to put pressure behind Charlie and to sort of pull us apart in a weird way. And so anyway, so I'm like, I was genuinely like apologizing, like going, this is what I meant. Here's the full context. Here's the full video. And, at the same time, who arrived into my life and made me an offer and was like, we can help you, fix this, was Prager University, a Jewish organization. And that arrived as like, and they offered me much more money than I was making at Turning Point USA. And so it seemed like I had just gotten engaged as well. And so like, my ability to kind of travel the country and do those things. So it seemed like a perfect storm to kind of take the next step. And sure enough, I went to LA to meet with them. And this is now one of the stranger things that's ever happened. And I didn't think of it at the time. I was totally just baffled by the scandal. Marissa, the CEO of PragerU, took me to the Simon Wiesenthal Center. Right. She said she could help make this go away or whatever. And she took me to the Simon Wiesenthal Center. And there was this guy, I'm going to say he was like a chief rabbi. I don't know. He was dressed. He was very much the guy.
Adrian, thank you for supporting the channel. People hate on Baron and Candace, but nobody has proven them wrong. Yeah, they're phenomenal. A lot of people definitely have attacks out on them. I think you always know when you're close to the truth when people start to attack your character and not your points. And that's what happens with Baron and Candace quite often. So they've been great, and you're absolutely correct. Nobody has came out and took their points and broke it down and said, you are a liar and here is why. That has not happened once. So that is very true.
You know what I mean? They didn't speak a word of English. They spoke fluently in Hebrew. I just sat in the room as they spoke, and they went back and forth speaking in Hebrew. And then Marissa and I left, and she said everything was going to be fine. And the scandal went away.
What?
It sounds so crazy that I did not even appreciate that it was crazy at the time, because I just was like, thank you, friend, because I can't believe anybody would ever think I was anti-Semitic. And so I was so grateful. And I thought she was like using her contacts and because the Simon Wiesenthal Center had issued this whatever, and that she was coming in to like basically tell them it's not true. I didn't know what they were saying. Went away. Now I'm like, was it like, I'll handle this. We've pulled them apart. It's all good.
Why do you think you were targeted?
Hmm?
Why do you think you were targeted to begin with?
I think there is, and I'm fully in just reflecting on the way things went down. Erica came into Charlie's life. A bunch of people were suddenly being put into Turning Point USA. Girlfriend, Stacey Sheridan, she's going to raise more money and take things to the next level. Andrew Colvett, you need like real PR now. I mean, just like all of these characters, like a Hollywood cast was suddenly assembled. And I think there was a real panic about the power of any organization. You hit a level and they start paying attention. And I think the Kanye tweet put us on the map. They started paying attention. This could be a very powerful political organization. We need to make sure that it's within our control.
Gotcha.
And
so
I was always
presented you PragerU to control you.
That is my perspective in retrospect. And I did not have that perspective while I was there. And I also want to make it very clear, I had a very good working relationship there. It was not I will say they were always honest about who they were. Like they're Zionists, Marissa's former Mossad, so they were never trying to pretend that they were open to a different perspective on Israel or anything like that, or like anything. They were upfront about who they were and what their priorities were. And Marissa was very kind. Like if she was a handler, she was damn good. That's why she probably was in the Mossad. Like, you know what I mean? Like the best kind of handlers is one that's you think is your friend. And she was there for me through a really tough personal time in my life as well. And so that was a hard relationship for me to mourn in many ways, because I'm naturally, not looking, I don't open up to people about tough things that I go through. And she was there for me for a really tough time. We had a perfect working relationship. So I don't want people to think that because of where I'm at right now, you go backwards and you're like, oh, well, things were not. No, it was like they were fantastic. They ran very professionally.
It makes you also think about, like, it just came to a thought of what she said like 20 seconds ago, but it makes you also think about Charlie and the messages that he pushed, and then you kind of correlate it and tie it in together with him and Erica, because he was either extremely naive and didn't really read Erica correctly as a future spouse, or maybe somebody was telling him that Charlie cannot be a bachelor running around speaking his message and speaking family and core values when he's this 24-year-old virgin. And I mean, Charlie didn't have the personality of, like, he probably could have pulled any woman based on his money, but he didn't have that much experience with women. So it would have looked weird for him to be out here pushing these values and all that other stuff with no woman on his side. So he would have kind of been uncontrollable and would have been able to say absolutely whatever. So that's why you can kind of throw in there that Erica was a handler, and maybe Charlie was told that he has to have the image, right? It's all about the image. If you can have the image, you can be very powerful. You can push messages because people will believe what you're saying because you are walking in that same way. So he could have potentially knew what he was getting into. And I don't know if he knew how far it was going to go, but those are the two things that I wrestle with. Either he was extremely naive, or he knew what he was getting into and he knew what the assignment was. And he was kind of like, let's just see what happens. I have to have somebody on my side to push these family values, to push the perfect wife and what you should look for in a perfect woman, and to marry. Like, he was pushing that heavy. But in reality, everything that we know now, it's like everything he was pushing and telling dudes to find for in a woman, Erica was not that. So it's one or the other.
I had a great relationship with even their COO, Lane, Thrasher. They were all just great. I mean, I don't know what to say. I had a perfect, she never wanted to talk about contracts. She was like, if you don't want to be here, then you should go. Like, it's not going to work for me to hold you here like you're a prisoner. I loved Figure You. It was great. Did that for a couple of years. Then again, kind of like a new season of life. Had my first kid. Now,
Hold on. Let's go back. How'd you meet your husband?
with Charlie. This is a crazy story, but the same exact week that Charlie was having these dreams about dying, or he was really deeply talking to me about it. I mean, he had the dreams over and over again, he said, from a time of turning point, but he was like, it was a lot of things happened that week. One, by the end of the week, Kanye tweeted me. Okay. Two, I had this in the same way he was like, I'm going to die. I was just like, we need to get to London. We need to go to the UK. No reason. We had no reason, no rhyme or reason to go to the UK. And I just started hammering him in April, being like, we need to go to the UK, we need to go to the UK, we need to go to the UK. June comes around, I'm hammering him, we need to go to the UK. He's like, for what? And I'm just like, just make up something to be there. I just feel like pulled to go to the UK. I have the messages. It's so crazy to read back. And so eventually I am feeling so pulled to go to the UK that I say to him, give me your credit card. I'm just going to book the flights, because then you'll be forced to just make a reason for us to go to the UK. And I did it. And I had never done that, never booked flights, never taken his card. And I was like, now we're going to the UK, so find something for us to do. And he was like, well, I've been wanting to like build out Turning Point UK and kind of build out this international thing. And so we were hosted by, who are now dear friends to us, Don Mappin and Arena Mappin. Charlie had been emailing with them, and they said, we'd love to host you because we need Turning Point in the UK. And I spoke. This is also the same event that they would eventually pull the out of context comments from. So this is December. And then they would pull these comments in March of the following year. And he got together a great group, and I presented on stage, and my husband was in the audience. And I just sort of looked at him and thought he was really cute. thought he was really cute. And at the end, he came up to me and he said, hi, I'm George Farmer. And I was like, George Farmer's pretty cute. And that was it. Never going to probably see him again. Next day, I had a podcast, Russell Brand. Go out to the countryside, book as much media as possible. And then Russell Brand went over. It was like 3 hours. And my assistant somehow had a miscommunication with PJW. There was going to be this Turning Point UK launch dinner where a bunch of political players were going to be brought to the room. And PJW was supposed to be, unbeknownst to me, I don't know if you know who he is. He's a YouTuber in the UK. And long story short, I didn't know this dinner was happening. Like, it was not in me and Charlie's calendar. We had no idea it was happening. I was going to go do Russell Brand. Charlie did some press down there, back in London. I'm in the countryside. And then we met back up to do another media event I suddenly realized, I am told by my assistant that I'm running 3 hours late to a dinner that I didn't even know was happening. So me and Charlie jump into a taxi, book it, and are like, Mike, like how could this miscommunication have happened? Important political players, a nice small intimate dinner of like maybe 18, maybe even smaller, maybe like 15 people. And I walk into this dinner and George Farmer is hosting the dinner because he wanted to get behind Turning Point UK because him and his father were very involved with Brexit at the time. And his father was at one time the treasurer for the Tory party. So they were involved in politics. And he just thought Turning Point UK was a great idea. And he was helping his friend PJW put together a little dinner for Charlie and Candace. And so we arrived 3 hours late to this dinner and George Farmer is there. And I see him. And at this point, because his friends were like, mate, are they even coming? You know, he's just plying everyone at the table with alcohol because like he's humiliated that nobody is, and he doesn't know what's happening because he's not talking to me and we had no idea it was happening. So Charlie and I get there. We don't like, this is so out of our character. We would never show up somewhere late. I don't know where the ball got dropped. I blame PJW. And so does George. And we immediately just went around the table and I just said sorry to every single person. You know, obviously I had to thank you. Thank you for being here. Da, da, da. We sit down. I sit down next to my husband, future husband. And I tell you, I just looked at his face and I knew he was it was the craziest thing. I just knew he was my husband. And he didn't speak to me barely because he was thinking the same thing. Like he knew that I was his wife and had already texted his friend after hearing me speak the night before. And he wrote in writing, I'm going to marry Candace Owens. And his friend, who was the best man in our wedding, was like, mate, you're an idiot. Like, he read this at the night before our dinner, read the messages. And it was the exact same thing was happening for me. And I'm saying to my assistant, like, George Farmer's my husband. Like, and we didn't say anything. He was then too nervous. So I spoke to his best friend, Nick, who was the best man in our wedding. He chatted with him the whole time. And I'm just sitting here like, man, I really want to talk to this George Farmer. He's just so cute. And he said a couple of words. And then at the end sent me a message on WhatsApp and said, thank you so much for coming to church tonight. And I was like, you should come to the Student Action Summit, which is going to be next week in Palm Beach. Had no idea if he had a girlfriend. Was really hoping he didn't because he was my husband. So it'd be weird if he had a girlfriend, right? It would be so weird if I found out my husband had a girlfriend. And he flew over with a girlfriend of his. And the whole time I'm just trying to figure out, like, we're doing SAS, all this is going on. And we just kind of like put them in our group. And I'm just trying to figure out if those two are dating, like if my husband has a girlfriend. And there was this donor to Turning Point USA. I used to stay at her house when we had an event in Palm Beach. And she's older. She was like 75. And, you know, she's at the age where they don't care what they say. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you two would be so cute together. And I'm sitting here like, so I did this thing. But I'm telling you, I've never done this. This is so funny. And we had the event it was at Mar-a-Lago. I remember the dress I was wearing. And then he shows up wearing like a cummerbund, like, I mean, Englishmen in their suits, right? So he shows up looking like James Bond. And I'm like, okay, everybody stop. That's my husband. Like, obviously, like in my head, I'm just like, this is crazy. Like if my husband in a suit, it's just like, okay, just shuts everything down. And I'm just sitting here. And afterward, we went to the Breakers and we had a conversation and the conversation just completely flowed. We were actually talking about Vladimir Putin, which is really funny. And we were talking about, you know, planes and overcharging for suitcases. And I'm thinking like, okay, I don't think he's dating this girl because she was there and we were kind of like, you know, mm-hmm. talking. And so I went back to the donor's house and I was like, I am going to message him and see if he wants to like meet up for, what do you call like when you have like a late night, there's like a fancy expression for it, like you know, to have a cocktail late night. What do they say? I don't know what people call it. There's a nice fancy way to say it, whatever. But I'm like, I'm going to text him. Okay. Here's how I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to text him and see if he wants to meet up in like the lobby of the hotel. And I'm going to shoot my shot. And if he answers, then like, okay, there was definitely something there. And if he doesn't answer, then there was nothing. Okay. And he said, like, I texted him. I texted my husband, who I thought was my husband in my head. And I'm like, hey, like, do you want to go grab there's a word for it, whatever, in the lobby or whatever of the hotel?
I think she got married in like 2018, 19. And I believe it was like some crazy story, like 18 days after meeting or something like that. George either proposed or they got married in 18 days. One of the other. I can't recall, but I know it was very, very quick. And I know a lot of people have their suspicions and all of that of like, is George her handler and all the other stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of anybody get married in 18 days or proposed to. But at the same time, I haven't done any research on it. I mean, I personally, I don't really care, George. At the moment, I don't think it affects anything in my life that would want me to look into it. So I personally don't really care. But she does seem like she genuinely loves her husband, and they got 5 kids. That's crazy. Well, full starting 5. And it's like 4 under 4 right now. She's cooking up a boy, but she got 4 kids at the moment walking this earth. And they're like 4 under 4. So I'm like, listen, I love that for her. I don't know about all the other stuff. I don't even really know who George Farmer is. I know everybody looks into that. I don't know. I'm not that guy that does all that research on that.
No response. No response. Going backward and going over this together, he was like, I was just knocked out sleeping. Well, of course, you're thinking 1,000 different things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, no, he's dating that girl. He's totally dating that girl. I'm an idiot. Like, and yeah. And so, yeah, I was like, okay, he's gonna, and then the next day we went to the dinner house again. And she was just like, you guys make such a cute couple. And I was like getting all these signs. And then after he left, he called me and we talked on the phone for like 3 hours. And I was like, okay, he didn't have a girlfriend, the whole thing. And then he told me, I just fell asleep. And I'm so sorry, I missed the text message. I was like, if you knew the thought and the emotion and everything that went behind this, like, I never do this. At the time, I didn't even drink, by the way. Like, I was just making up an excuse to see him. And it was just, he just passed out. And I was like, he's probably with that girl, like all the girly emotions. And none of that was happening. And so, yeah, we then like spoke every day on the phone. Obviously, he was back in the UK. And then he proposed to me on a plane. We hadn't even had our first kiss. So I'm one of the
Hadn't even had your first kiss?
No. How could we? He was in the UK. So he proposed to me. People thought we were totally insane. His friends thought he was insane. Everyone thought I was insane. But my sisters were like, this is the most Candace thing I've ever heard, ever. You know.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. That does sound crazy, but I mean, I also don't know all the information. You know what I mean? It does sound crazy just because I've never heard it. That doesn't mean that it's not possible just because I haven't heard it. That would be kind of ignorant to say. I've never heard it happen, so it means it's fake. It probably did happen, and it's, you know, I don't know. But yeah, that is crazy. Maybe they both knew that each other were the one, but without a one singular kiss is interesting. That is so crazy. But hey, look at them now. Happy. 5 kids later. George over in America. I mean, hey, it sounds like they living. So it worked out pretty well.
Wait, how much time from you met him to
Engagement? 18 days.
18 days? Wow. How long have you guys been married now?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years. Baby number 5 on the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So it was.
Yeah, she loved her man. Look at that. 7 years, baby number 5. All right, what's up? Might be 6, might be 7. I love my man. I love that for her. That's what I'm saying. It ain't no, you know what I mean? I ain't got no fight in that. That's not something I'm really interested in. But I just know a lot of people bring that up. Her and George's relationship is weird and all that other stuff. Hey, if y'all feel like it's weird, go do your research. Go do what you do. But at the moment, it sounds like a beautiful story.
I can't even explain the pull that pulled me to the UK. When I saw him, I mean, I don't know if I dreamed it. I mean, some things are just so metaphysical. We don't understand the world and the way it works. But I knew he was my husband, and I was right. So everyone was wrong. I was like, no, that's obviously my husband. Like, I have no, like, and the way that I describe how I felt, and I will be such a hypocrite, by the way, in the future when my daughter pulls this, she'll be about to marry. I feel like my daughter someday is going to watch this episode and be like, you and dad fell in love. When you're watching and you're 20, however old you are, Louise, you're not allowed to meet any guy like this. You're not allowed to get married after 18 days. This only applies for me. I'm going to be a total hypocrite. But the only way that I can describe the way I felt is it felt like a sigh of relief. Like, oh, there he is. Like, everything's going to be okay now. He's there.
What's the secret to a successful marriage?
Gosh, the secret to a successful marriage.
Now, this is what Candace is qualified. She's, they may have been married for 7 years. I would say anybody that hits the 10 range, 10 plus, you are qualified to speak on this topic, as in like how Charlie and Erica used to be on stage, not even married for 3-4 years, talking about what it takes to be in a great marriage, what it, you know what I mean? Sure, you can have a general idea of what it takes, but they were giving out marriage advice and they weren't even married for 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, that's diabolical. Y'all haven't even left the threshold of the divorce rates. So that was always strange to me. But you know, I know that was a side note, but that's what I did. Candace, 7 years in, 5 kids. I want to hear from her, not Erica.
I feel in some ways I have been just so blessed by God to just have a really easy marriage. Because I hear, you know, everyone wants to know what the secret is. And I think it's the secret is loving the person you married, like genuinely enjoying them, like genuinely being fascinated by them. Like wanting to aspire to them, wanting to know them, every like layer of them, and wanting to learn from them, having just like a deep reverence for the person that you're marrying, like aside from just being giddy and in love with them. And I'm totally obsessed with my husband. I just genuinely am. And that's the best feeling in the world. I feel like I cheated in life somehow like that. I just got to marry the person of my dreams who wears a suit like James Bond. Like I'm just like, he's just perfect in every way. And the best thing is just to see who he became after we had kids.
And that's her type. I don't know if y'all been following Candace for a while. George is for sure her type. I hate doing the comparisons, but it's just real, bro. Erica is not Charlie's type, and Charlie is not Erica's type. It's just not. You never could really see it. I know somebody out there's gonna be a Erica stan, and Charlie and Erica was beautiful. It just didn't look. I don't know, bro.
Like men, you unlock something, and I'm sure it comes from I'm a dad. You know what I mean? Wow, I got to figure this thing out. And we have a lot of boys. So I think there's even more pressure applied of I now need to be the model of the father. Like, I'm a father. What kind of a father do I want to be? Because that's going to impact my boys. And he loves his dad. And I think he felt the pressure of wanting to be who his dad was to him. And this pressure just created a diamond, you know? So he has just, I'm just amazed at him. Like he's just, my husband's good at everything too. He's just one of those people who has a brain for everything. I know what I'm good at. I'm good at communication. I'm good at writing. I understand marketing, but he can just learn any subject in a day and then suddenly fully comprehend it. I mean, you could talk to my husband about any subject. It's unbelievable. So I don't know. I just adore him. I think that's kind of the secret is adoring the person. Because it's been really easy for us, which sounds crazy because on the external, it's like just a constant hurricane, a constant tornado. But to see, especially during the year of the Daily Wire stuff, how he just built it. It's like understood the whole, never podcasted, understood it, did the ads, redid the contracts, you know, all right, got to figure this out, whatever. And just, I could have never survived that year without my husband.
Wow.
Yeah. He's
And
a genius. He really
baby
is.
number 5's on the way.
I'm 5. I've just been in a constant state of pregnancy. Like an elephant. Elephants are pregnant for 2 years. I feel like I've just been pregnant for a long time, but I'm blessed with very easy pregnancies. And we didn't realize how much we were going to love being parents too. Like that was something that surprised us. I don't know. You hear so much about marriage. Be careful when you get married. And I feel like there's so much nonsense out there. Like you're walking a plank or something. And I feel like my life began when I got married and when I had kids, and we just, our kids are just the best. And my kids are awesome. Like, I mean, they're so funny and they're kind and they're so smart. I know I sound like I'm biased, but I really do have the best kids. Someone has to have them, right? Someone has to have the best, and it's me. And we just love it. We love being parents. The happiness that comes from it and the security that comes from it. Like they're getting security from you, but you're getting real security from them and realizing suddenly what matters. It changes everything. And I laugh at that younger Candace who's like, whoa, this person retweeted me. That's the goal. Whoa, I'm going to do this show tonight. And now it's, how fast can I get home? So-and-so did this today, like texting each other, like the stories of like little conversations that watching children contend with the world and try to reason, and the oversimplification, the beauty of the oversimplification of a child's mind. It's so special. It really is. And now I get to work from home because thank you, Daily Wire. The blessing of that.
One thing I wasn't expecting to hear.
It is. I mean, you know, obviously she's in a much more, you know, financially fortunate opportunity than a lot of us. But I mean, I think, you know, I don't know about y'all, but I'm similar as far as when it comes to family. You know, if I had the money like that, yeah, I probably had a little basketball team too. If I could work from home, I'm making millions. My husband's making millions. Yeah, I mean that's like the dream perfect situation. So you know, it's definitely great that Candace gets to live that life, and she seems very happy outside of all the chaos that she starts every single day. But it's for the greater good. It's for the fight for truth. It feels like. So it's phenomenal hearing this side of her because you don't really hear it so often. It's always like business as usual with her. So this is like a very soft side that we're seeing from Candace.
It is a thank you to the Daily Wire from Candace Owens.
I owe them so much. I owe them so much for ripping the carpet from under my feet in the most glorious way possible. I mean, God is always looking out. That I look back on that, and you just don't doubt what God's doing, even things that you're like, why? Well, you're not meant to know right now, Candace. And then God just showing me that he just was throwing me a lifeboat, you know. Now's a good time to get out of there. So I have no regrets.
Good for you.
Yeah.
For you. You brought up I think it's Blexit.
Mm-hmm.
What is Blexit?
Well, Blexit is what I was building alongside Charlie because I was really focused on wanting to motivate Black people to wake up to the Democrat Party.
Okay.
And so that kind of happened in Kanye season. And then when I realized I did not want to do not-for-profit and I loved podcasting, which I got to do with PragerU, I sold Blexit back to Turning Point USA because I also just couldn't do that all. Like I, was after getting married and being pregnant, I was like, I don't want to do not-for-profit and do a podcast and do all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it allowed me to focus on podcasting, which I just found a knack for. I really love conversing with people and communicating, and I've got my dream job, so to speak, right now because I get to do it for myself.
And you did that with Brandon Tatum?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the former police officer?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys still tight?
Brandon, I always say is
now, Shawn, this might have been the best question of the entire night, brother. This is going to be very interesting. I'm curious.
He's like a brother to me.
And you did that with Brandon Tatum?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the former police officer?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys still tight?
Brandon, I always say he's like a brother to me, and I think it's that same coming of age thing. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, me, Charlie, doing stuff together, building something. We obviously have very strong disagreements on Zionism and Israel and how Charlie Kirk died, and I need to be able to sit down face to face with him, which has been hard, just because we're on opposite sides of the and we've spoken on the phone a few times, but like then he's got I'm having him to dinner, and I have a very, very strict policy about when you have a real relationship with somebody doing stuff for the public. And there's a lot that I need to talk to Brandon about. I need to try to understand where he's at, and I'm sure he feels the same way.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that somebody can disagree with you and still be friends.
Well, it was just a real relationship, and like, my.
Now, y'all know where I stand on this aisle, right? That is true. When you are good friends with people, you can disagree on topics. It doesn't trump your friendship. I do agree with that. But y'all know where I stand on this. Brandon Tatum blatantly disrespects Candace Owens publicly. Therefore, it is kind of strange that they are so tight and so cool and all that other stuff. If he wasn't doing that, that'd be totally different. If he wasn't disrespecting Candace, that'd be totally different. But I'm coming from a place where he does disrespect Candace Owens. He does push. The Fed slop doesn't even matter. He can believe that Tyler Robinson did it, right? A lot of people do. But it's the disrespect that we all know Candace does not tolerate. And it's the disrespect that Brandon Tatum pushes towards Candace for anybody that thinks like Candace and all of that other stuff that I'm just like, I can't wrap my head around on that part of like, yeah, we're cool and we can disagree on certain things. And I'm like, nah, bro, this dude be wilding. He be saying some crazy stuff about you, bro. And anybody that thinks like her. So I don't know. Y'all know where I stand. I've said this a million times. I don't understand their relationship. It doesn't really make sense to me. But Brandon Tatum is also kind of irrelevant to this whole story. I think he's just more so used for comedy purposes only. When it comes to the Charlie Kirk investigation, I think it's kind of funny when he chimes in. So I guess we'll just leave it at that.
family loves Brandon. Like, so it's you. I think you're less of a person when you allow politics to decide who you're friends with. And I have felt that test real close to the fire with the Kanye stuff.
But remember this, I know I'm talking because this is a topic that we've been talking about for a long time. And this is the first time Candace has ever spoke out about Brandon Tatum, like spoke on Brandon Tatum. So forgive me for pausing it. This is very interesting. The only thing, again, this is the one of the few things with Candace that I don't agree with, and that's with Brandon Tatum. Obviously, it ain't my friend, so Candace gonna do whatever she wants to do. But Charlie Kirk dying is not politics. I know they're changing it into politics, but Charlie Kirk dying is not politics. So I don't, when I hear like the disagreeing over politics thing, no. Charlie Kirk is dead. So I feel like everybody that was close to Charlie Kirk should be on the same page, especially if Candace, Brandon Tatum, and Charlie Kirk was like this. I was about to say like this, but it was three of them. So that I don't agree with that part of it being politics and all that other stuff. No, Charlie is dead and his wife is lying and everybody's lying. So Brandon Tatum could love Erica, but everybody's lying around Charlie Kirk. Even Trump. And Brandon Tatum will never, ever, ever criticize Trump. He won't ever criticize JD Vance. He won't ever criticize anyone that Candace criticizes. So it's beyond just his wife, right? This is like Charlie Kirk is dead and Brandon Tatum is on the far opposite side of trying to find the truth. So I feel like that is just totally different than just like politics.
What Daily Wire put me through behind the scenes, wanting me to like make a public statement about him. And I didn't do it. And they took millions away from me. They literally had money on the table.
What do you mean?
It's actually one of the funniest things because the former CEO has just been on like a podcast tour, just making up, like it's almost fantasy stories about me, but I guess no one wants to book him unless he does it.
Jeremy Boring.
Yeah, it's been the most pathetic thing. I don't even reply anymore because everyone in the comments just like, you are.
No, I'll tell you, like some of my favorite recent pastimes are hearing the stories of Jeremy Boring running around the fucking Daily Wire with a baseball bat, getting hair and makeup done.
That's all true. Yeah.
Because he wasn't even on camera, right?
No.
And he would get his hair and makeup
I'm glad
every day.
Yeah, that is all 1000% true. The stories, any stories you hear about him, as loony as it sounds, it's all very real. He was a total nutcase.
It's like I was telling you at breakfast when I hear the story. I don't want to mention anybody's names because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it sounds like the 90s movie The Office Space.
It's like a sitcom.
Like identical.
It is a sitcom. It's weird. Like you look back on it and you're just sort of, and everyone will tell you. I mean, this is.
Stassi, thank you for supporting the channel. My first and final response to Sister Owens. Okay. Kyle, thank you for supporting the channel. If they're mad Candace was on the Shawn Ryan show, why don't they ask him to host Erica to speak her side? Oh yeah, she's not real. That's a fact. I hope he does do that one day. I just want a live interview with her in general. There hasn't been anything live that was like genuinely answer questions about what happened to your husband live. There hasn't been a single thing. Everything is pre-recorded. So I would love that too. That is a great point.
What he did, he'd come in and have people wash his hair plugs and do his makeup and style him to be the CEO, just to go into his office and be the CEO.
Everywhere I go, people are talking about Jeremy Boring and Ben Shapiro because suddenly, right around Nashville, there's all these unemployed Daily Wire people running around.
Yeah.
And they're fucking pissed.
Yeah. Because it didn't
and they're talking a lot.
Yeah.
It's like
because it didn't have to be like that, I think, also. And he just ran it like a cult. It was very strange. I mean, he's just not a real person, I guess is the best way. He's a character, like a cartoon character. But one of the funniest reimaginations is like, because no one wants to book him, he has something to talk about. He has no talent. He sort of does this thing where he's just been like on a year tour of my worst regret is like hiring.
It's 2 a.m. and I'm still okay. So maybe it was because of that nap. But again, make sure y'all hit the like button, sub to the channel if you're new. We are just watching the Candace and Shawn Ryan interview until I get sleepy, and we are at 3 hours and 16 minutes in. It is 4 hours and 36 minutes, so a little bit over an hour left. I might have that in me. I don't know, but we'll see. If we get down to like 30 minutes left, that might be the goal because I can just finish the 30 minutes. We can all finish the 30 minutes on our own. I don't feel like we had to do a whole nother thing just for those 30 minutes. But we'll see.
Candace Owens, and yeah, it's all he can talk about.
I can't believe the shit they pulled with Brett Cooper.
Oh yeah,
Like, how old was Brett when she left there? Like, fucking
21, 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You treat a 21-year-old girl like that? What the fuck?
It's
is
a cult.
problem, man.
She wanted to leave. How do you leave a cult? We got to destroy you on the way out. You know?
I mean, they would just fucking torment her
Mhm.
every day, every fucking day.
I hope I'm assuming she opened up to you about what went on legally. I mean,
Somebody did.
Jeremy did that personally. I mean, he's vicious. He's closeted gay man, and he is extraordinarily vicious. So to see him try to sort of reintroduce himself.
When I hear the story about, I don't know if it was the day after you left or when you got fired or whatever, and they had everybody come out and they're like, nobody fucking cheer. And then they come out and everybody cheers, like, stop cheering.
Yeah, no clapping. I've heard the story now. Everyone was like, it was totally nutty. But if you know Jeremy, that's Jeremy. He always has to build a stage and give a performance of everything, including a firing. Like it's totally, it is a sitcom.
I think they ran around and took everybody's phones and shit too, maybe.
I think they made them keep their phones at their desks. And it was described to me like an episode of Arrested Development. He like had the stylist coming out and like matching his shirt to the lights. It's totally wacky, but all the stories are real. This is how he ran the company. It was just right into the ground, by the way, I should add. But it's funny to reflect on because he's so irrelevant now. It doesn't even matter. So we just kind of all share stories about this wacky person who pretended to be a CEO for a while, just desperately wants to be famous. And he doesn't have it. You just don't have it, buddy.
I love watching people that treat people like that just get fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
Destroyed.
Yeah. Because you need
he'll
friends.
never do anything big ever again.
No. And he knows that. Which is why his new show On the Road is.
Oh, he has a new show called On the Road.
No, but basically he just books media to talk about me. It's bonkers. And how I'm the worst decision he ever made. And obviously the public sees that for what it is. It's just pathetic. And but he reimagines me too. So he pretends he had, because why are they going to book him? Like nobody wants to book him. Yeah. And so he says, well, Candace once told me a secret that she would would do anything for money. That's how he tried to launch his podcast, saying that I told him I would do anything for money. And it's the literal exact opposite of what happened at the Daily Wire. It's like the exact opposite experience you had for me. When Kanye tweeted, DEFCON 3 or whatever. I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't there when he tweeted it. I wasn't with him. But because I was friends with him, this was like the cancellation of Kanye. They were putting pressure on me to make a statement about him. And I didn't do it. And I didn't want to do it. And it led to a moment where I was brought into a conference room and my husband was there. And both of the co-CEOs, it was Jeremy and Caleb Robinson, he's more serious of a person than Jeremy, were yelling in a conference room, like, why won't you just say this and make it easy? Don't you understand like the pressure that it puts on Ben and like his network of people who feel threatened by this or whatever. And I refused to do it. I said, I think you guys reflect on this. Most people see me as like a formidable enemy, but I'm a more formidable friend. I'm not going to step on his head while he's drowning. And so Jeremy basically said, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We need to build trust with you. So I had signed I want to say it was a 7-year contract. I could go back and get the exact specs of it. And we were like 2 years into the contract or something like that. And they shaved off like 5 years of my contract. So I lost millions of guaranteed dollars. And they basically were like, or you could just say a statement about Kanye. Didn't do it. Took the money back. And so it was the exact opposite experience he had with me, that I would not say things for money. And I have what's so wacky is like, I have the whole email chain. It's like this all happened with lawyers. They changed the contract, the negotiations, all of this stuff. And I was penalized for what Kanye said. What Kanye tweeted cost me millions of dollars. And zero regrets. It's not the person I am. I won't say things for money. I cannot be made to dance for money. And I think that frustrated them. That deeply frustrated them. I have to believe what I'm saying. And so even if I get things wrong, and of course I get things wrong because I'm a human, I am never intentionally lying or telling people something because somebody is funding me to say it. Mm-hmm. I genuinely was wrong about my prior positions on Israel, or I was genuinely just not educated and I was okay with it. I genuinely had no idea what was going on in Palestine. The moment I became educated about what was happening, when it became a hot button issue, and I was like, let me focus and see what this is actually about, I picked the right side and I spoke out and I said something, and again, ended up costing me a job. So like, I was making good money at the Daily Wire. I had no job that I was jumping onto. So to go around and say that Candace will say anything for money, you literally fired me because I wouldn't say anything for money. So it's really weird to sort of see him try to like rewrite who I am, but it's it's also ineffectual. So he's just the cartoon character.
Jeez. What was it that eventually did get you? Did you get fired or did you quit?
I got fired. The
Got
stage was
fired.
built, remember? And
Yeah.
it was a production. They put together a video. A video.
They put a fucking video. Did
To
you have
show
access
them.
to it?
Well, eventually Jeremy posted it because I think he thought people were going to go, "Wow, you're amazing."
It's out. It's on the internet.
Yeah, you can watch it of how he presented.
So all these fucking stories that I've heard about the day you got fired and the presentation, I can actually go watch it.
I can. Yeah, I think Steven Crowder released it or something. I think it got released somehow, and
We're putting that in your preview.
you have to. I mean, it was totally.
Oh my God.
They played like one of the reasons they listed for my firing because it was basically 1,000 different ways that you've been anti-Semitic. They, meaning the PR person at Daily Wire, told me to go on this show that had a DJ that just makes sound effects. And when me and the person were speaking about Ben Shapiro, a sound of a cash register went off. And they thought that was like pre-planned anti-Semitism. The ka-ching sound effect.
Oh, wow.
One of the reasons I got fired.
Are you serious?
Of a random show playing a ka-ching
cash register
sound. I mean, the whole song.
Shopify
But
sound.
actually, I was told that it was money that came in, actually, because they have a live.
It's the Shopify sound.
Yeah, like it was like a live thing where it's a live show. So there's so many sounds. They have a DJ. I mean, I couldn't have told you that this happened. And the whole time there's a cash register sound going, but also the sound went off when we were talking about Ben. And so that was listed as a reason for my firing.
How did they do it? Did they?
It was just an email. I was about to hit the stage at Turning Point USA because I was on tour, as I always am with them. And so I was juggling both, and I just got an email. And they listed, I think it was like, I want to say it was 30 pages, or it could have been 30 reasons. And I actually laughed when I was reading it because it was so.
Wait, I see some of y'all talking about Paramount Tactical had some debate with Bays. How did that go?
Crazy. Like it was like so far beyond how they could interpret anti-Semitism, like that it only a person who was in a sitcom could have come up with this. Like I was shocked they put it in writing. That was my, like, because first I was like, whoa, what am I being fired for? And then as they started listing the reasons that things, like the first 3 pages were Nick Fuentes. It was just Nick Fuentes. I've never spoken to Nick Fuentes. Like I spoke to him literally one time
You guys
prior
don't
to
even
that.
get along, do you?
No. But they had a whole conspiracy that I was secretly working with Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson to bring down the Daily Wire. And they brought me into the office and questioned me about that close to the end. And I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like there was a mental unwellness that was happening at that company. And
Was Tucker even independent at that time?
he had just gone independent. So I think this is what, like, they have a very severe obsession with Tucker. That was apparent to me when I was at the company. Like, I mean, I don't know what it is. There's something about Tucker that Jeremy and Ben are very obsessed with. And I don't know if it's because he's just cool, there's an envy. And they had convinced themselves that I was somehow working behind the scenes to bring down the Daily Wire to go work for Tucker. And that's because that's what they did to Breitbart. So they were accusing me of what they had done to a company prior, right? They had quietly been building Daily Wire. They then created a fake scandal with Michelle Fields. And then they took all of Breitbart's subscribers with them. So
What was the fake scandal?
the Michelle Fields, like Corey Lewandowski hit me and I was bruised. That whole scandal, as I was told, was thought up by Ben Shapiro and his best friend, who was Michelle Fields' husband, Jamie Weinstein, to help them launch Daily Wire. So
What a fucking turd.
This is the
What
story
a
of
fucking
Macbeth.
turd.
Yeah. This is the story of Macbeth. You go around killing people and then you're paranoid that someone's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
I was 8 months pregnant. I'm a very loyal person. Even if you don't deserve my loyalty, if I'm working for your company, I'm working for your company. I'm not trying to snipe you. I'm not doing anything. It's not my personality. I'll just quit. You know what I mean? And they brought me into an office and questioned me about this Tucker Carlson conspiracy. And they asked me if he told me explicitly that they thought that I was working with Nick Fuentes. And I just was so confused. I thought someone's gone.
How much time did you have at the Daily Wire?
Left or?
No, just all together.
Was I there for 3 years? I think.
How long did this happen after the Kanye incident where they wanted you to?
It was it was kind of exactly a year later. And so, but it was right after.
Yeah, we knew Gary was gonna be pushing Fat Slop, but did Bays hold it down, or was Gary doing what Gary does and Bays didn't say much? We already know Gary's position, so that's why I'm curious on how Bays handled it.
October 7th is when they got super wacky, and I think they were wanting me to kind of like pledge allegiance to Israel publicly, and I just wasn't going to do that, and so it became an issue. They had financial pressure because Jeremy was doing Pendragon, which cost them over $60 million. The reports on that have been completely inaccurate of how much that passion project of Jeremy's harmed the company. And there's the only way to describe him is maniacal. Anybody who works at Daily Wire will tell you that. He was just utterly maniacal, and he's obsessive. And so, yeah, they built the stage. I mean, by the way, when I sat down with them, like a week prior to them firing me, and we had hashed things out, when they had said to me, well, we thought you were secretly plotting. And I was like, this is mental unwellness. And I said, look, if post October 7th, things have changed, like I obviously understand this is Ben's a partner of the company, and you guys want to separate, let me and Ben talk to each other like human beings. Like, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to, like, you don't spend 3 years at a company and want things to end badly. So I presented Jeremy with that option of me just leaving peacefully. We can figure out how to like unwind, issue a nice statement. But Jeremy has a flair for drama. He has to build a stage. He has to do it. He has to make it over the top. And so they hatched this remarkable plan to Christ is king, is anti-Semitic.
Did they really say that?
Yes.
I mean, don't be offended,
Andrew-
but I always thought you kind of manufactured that.
Oh no. Andrew Klavan did a full episode entitled like Christ is king after we announced that I was separated. And he just like completely disparaged me for an hour, Andrew Klavan. And I was so shocked because we had signed a non-disparagement. And their lawyers came back and were essentially like, joke's on you, tricky contract clause. We said that none of the
I'll
talents,
have to
none of
check it
the
out.
employees
I'll have to check it out.
would disparage you, but Andrew Klavan isn't actually an employee, he's a contractor. So they had plotted to sign this agreement, we go our separate ways, but then they were going to allow Andrew Klavan to publicly say something, and then said I couldn't say anything back. But it backfired because they did this during Lent. And people watched the episode and went, what? And so then, so this gets even better. So then it backfires. My hands are tied behind my back. I can't say anything. But they still, because they lost tens of thousands of subscribers to Andrew Klavan doing an episode calling me anti-Semitic over Christ is king, they then sued me for them attacking me. So
Wow.
Jeremy, which is really funny because a couple of days ago, he went on to Patrick Bet David and said, we had the most subscribers ever after Candace left. You literally sued me, and I have the documents of your sworn affidavit saying the opposite. Like, it's the way he lies. Like, he's just maniacal. You can't even make it up. So, but he sued me and said that they lost tens of thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands of subscribers. Literally, that just said tens of thousands of subscribers over the Crisis King thing, which caused their company financial harm. They sued me for their attack on me backfiring. Try to work that out.
Wow.
And their evidence of why it was actually my fault was because I couldn't say anything about Andrew Klavan, but Jeremy then stalked my likes on Twitter, and people that were defending me, I was liking the tweets. He brought that into court and said the likes are disparaging.
Did this shit hold up?
They ended up eventually, let me tell you the blessing of the way God works. So we were being sued. They wanted millions of dollars for my likes, literally my likes on Twitter. And so basically they were going to get every bit that we agreed to walk away. And I wanted them to pay me out what was due. And they figured they'd just claw it in court because Jeremy's a homosexual psychopath and he will like focus on that. And they were like trying to tell the judge that likes amount to disparagement. And a blessing occurs. You cannot make this up because they are like cartoon characters. My lawyer gets a call, and I want to say it was Labor Day weekend. It might have been, what would be before Labor Day? I feel like it was sometime in August, but I feel like it was Labor Day weekend. And my lawyer on the case was like in a bar. He had a couple of beers and he said he comes out and like Daily Wire's lawyer calls him and he's like freaking out on the phone. And he's like, she pulled her contract and you knew blah, blah, blah. And my lawyer's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you know, she pulled her contract. You guys fired her. And he's like, you're going to pretend you don't know. And my lawyer, Rob, is like,
TikTok family, I'm about to just end the live, bro. I've already been suspended once tonight. I can't get suspended twice in the same night, or else they would do like a huge ban. I appealed it. We came back because I don't even know why I got suspended in the first place. But somebody's reporting the live again. And if I get suspended twice, it's going to be very, very bad news. So hop on YouTube, Jay the Yapper. We're watching the same thing. You get to see the video. But I got to end the live before something bad happens to the account.
what happened? Like, what did Candace do? Like, what happened? And he's like, we're talking about Brett. So these geniuses thought that I had something to do with Brett pulling her contract. And they were the ones who told me that Brett pulled her contract. Oh, it was brilliant. The whole thing was just amazing. So I had no idea that Brett had done this, obviously, because I had nothing to do with it. And she pulled her contract. And then because they were so in their conspiracy mind, thought I had something to do with it, their lawyer then informed me that Brett pulled her contract. And so that's how I found out that Brett was leaving the Daily Wire from their own lawyer.
Shit. How long after you left did Brett leave?
Brett, but it ended up saving me in this court thing. The first time they ended up suing me again, and then Brett again. It was nonstop lawsuits all the time. But because Brett, it was such a shock to everyone, myself included, they then suddenly had like a two-front war. You know what I mean? Like they're fighting me in court, and then suddenly like Jeremy was going to put Brett in a torture chamber. And they, I guess, decided to just, for the first lawsuit, we decided to agree and walk away. But then they found another reason to sue me again. And that was because I saw red when I saw them doing what they did to me to Brett. They tried the same thing. They were going to go with anti-Semitism. Brett Cooper. I mean, this girl does like pop culture videos, but it's tried and true. So they started stalking her likes, and exact same thing, getting their friends to write articles like, what's happening to Brett Cooper? She likes this tweet. And I defended her. And when he did the thing with her best friend as a way to torture her, because that's what that was. That's how he is. He's unwell. But because it's like, you don't leave my cult and you're a piece of property to me, I'm going to make you suffer. And he went to her wedding. He went to Brett's wedding. Knew Reagan was her best friend, knew that Reagan was her maid of honor, and thought through. And here's what the most effed up part, and I apologize in advance for me having absolutely zero permission from Brett, but we're already on the show, so I can't say anything. I can't go backward. Sometimes I feel like I'm not on air, and I kind of forget that all this is. That's kind of the problem with podcasts, is sometimes I'm just talking to you.
Sometimes you get
I'm just talking to you in your living room now.
Yeah.
And this will be obviously very viral, but the most effed up part of it, and I actually think both of the girls were victimized by it. I want to be clear. Like, I don't like what Reagan did, but these were two young girls, like, young, and they were best friends. And there was just a maniacal homosexual man doing this because he wanted Brett to suffer for just leaving a job. Like, hey, I'm 22. No matter what my reason is, I should be able to leave a job. He offered Reagan more money than he ever paid Brett.
Great business decision. Worked out really well.
Offered you can't refuse, sort of a thing, which would have been life changing. So who knows what her life pressures were, or and this is me being gracious, because I'm not a fan of that. I don't like when girls. I wouldn't have done it. I'll tell you that for free. But I'm built a little different. But you can see how that kind of money in front of someone who's just like an associate producer, and suddenly someone's like, I only want to make you a star, I'll do this, and he did that for sport because he wanted her to, and it hurt her. By the way, he was successful. That was a relationship that meant a lot to her. And that's not something, this is something you hear like a deranged husband doing to a wife after a divorce. You know what I mean? Like how will I make her suffer, and like using the kids as a chip in the middle of the divorce. This isn't something you hear about a CEO and a 22-year-old girl who wants to leave because she wants to have kids and he doesn't think it's a good idea, for you to have kids. That's like, and so I stood up for her, and then I got sued for standing up for her publicly. Zero regrets. I actually, as we were approaching the court date, I told my lawyers, I'm not going to lie to the judge. If they want to know, did I do an episode defending Brett Cooper? And I think he wanted every time they had dinged me, they wanted $300K for every offense. And I think for that episode, they wanted $1 million for me defending Brett. Or $300K for that episode. I said I was just going to pay it. And I said I would have hung it up on a wall and showed my kids, stand up for something. Money's just money. And I would have said to the judge, yep, I consciously made, that was the one time where they were coming after me for something that could have violated disparagement because I was sickened by what he did to her.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's a real friend.
Money's on everything in life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
She's so young. It's just like, give it to me. You know what I mean? I felt so like, and I wasn't actually close to Brett at the Daily Wire. We got close after because of dealing with lawsuits, and he sued her over wearing a blue shirt. I mean, he's a total, like someone said it so perfectly online.
Why would the Israeli Wire sue somebody for wearing the Daily Wire sue somebody for wearing a blue shirt?
Well, it's all about the suffering of the lawsuit, right? It's not about whether or not they can win. It's about knowing that she doesn't have this money. You're going to sue her $100K, $300K for wearing a blue shirt. And so what happens, this really gets you into the mind of how Jeremy Boring works. On her last day, they did a joint announcement that was really weird, and everyone could tell that something more was happening, but they had agreed whatever the language is. And so Jeremy did Brett's been great, da, 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 and then it kind of cuts to Brett. I remember watching it and being like, this is weird. And obviously your audience can sniff it out in 4 seconds. They're growing with you. They know you. They're here. It's called the Brett Cooper Show, right? And they could sense that something was coming or whatever it was. But on that day, she wore a blue shirt. That's all I know, is that she wore a blue shirt during that announcement. And it turned out that previously someone in the comments, because I told you he stalks comments, that's his thing, he's a true stalker in the comments, had said, Brett, if you're under an NDA, wear a blue shirt. So he extrapolated from that she must have intentionally worn a blue shirt, which is completely wacky and you're wearing a blue shirt. If you're not wearing a blue shirt 3 times a week, we're not talking about a maroon shirt. This is like white, black, blue. I feel like everyone wears 3 times a week. So then he found a reason to, because he never wants you to leave, right? So then you sue, and then you're behind the scenes and you're fighting them because it's a way to hold on to a relationship. And so it's a legal form of stalking. And so I'm actually quite passionate about it. And I hope that one day with my platform, I can get laws changed, because it allows psychopathic men to stalk women legally. Because they go, well, I have a contract and I can interpret anything as disparagement, even a shirt, a like on Twitter. So I can now keep you in court and keep you tied to me for years. And that's what he did to me. It never stopped. As soon as it stopped, he's now doing tours, still talking. So it's been a nonstop stalk from him, and he did the same thing to Brett. So it's like you can never leave, sort of a thing.
Holy shit.
But that's what there are laws that need to be changed about arbitration court, because that's what arbitration gives them the comfort of doing. He would have never brought that lawsuit in a public court because that would have humiliated him, and people would have read and realized that something's deranged about him. They realize that now, just on the basis of the amount of interviews he's given about me, that people are now going, this is starting to feel obsessive. With Jeremy, give him a stage and he'll reveal himself. So I don't mind him doing all those interviews. But to have to suffer that in arbitration court and to not be able to speak, that is, laws have to change. It's legal
Who's
abuse.
interviewing him? I mean, what's the interest?
Gary ain't the real yapper, man. It's only the one and only.
Me.
You're interviewing a failed businessman. Like the Israeli Wire is like,
yeah. And it's because
they're
because
buying
of him.
views. They're buying fucking views.
Yeah. And it's because of him, that investment in his childhood dream, Pendragon. He's not right in the head. So with someone like that,
I think Cabot Phillips also bragged about his podcast being ranked in the country or something like that. I said, bro, nobody is listening to Cabot Phillips. Okay, nobody want to listen to you, bro. Like y'all pay for all your views, YouTube, all that stuff. It's oh my gosh, everybody at the Daily Wire is just so annoying. I wish that is one story and one group of people that I just wish I never even knew about. My life was perfectly fine without even knowing who the Daily Wire was, because now that I know, they're all just cornballs.
He just thinks he's gonna build something, and
I mean, it doesn't sound like any of them are right in the head, and they sure as fuck don't learn any lessons. I mean,
no,
they're trying to get you to speak out against Kanye, and then fast forward a couple of years, and now they're trying to get Megyn Kelly to speak out against you and I think Tucker, right?
Like she's the internet mom or something. And it's so crazy because it wasn't like Megyn was platforming me. That's what was so strange. Like their attacks against her was especially psychotic because they were just going, hey, it's Tuesday. We're gonna need you to make a statement about Candace Owens. And she's like, wait, why do I have to make a statement about Candace Owens? I don't know Candace Owens. I haven't had her on I think she literally had me on her radio show one time years ago when I was at the Daily Wire promoting The Greatest Lie Ever Sold. I've never done the Megyn Kelly show. And they're tribal. So it's like, well, because we said so. Because we said so, you need to say something about Candace Owens. And she's like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Because that diminishes me as a person. That makes Megyn look weak. That means she's not in the driver's seat of her own life. And then they start applying the pressure. The mafia starts to come in and they'll start putting bots in your comments, having people stalk you, talking about you every single day, trying to ruin your reputation, having people email. They even have like email bots where they can have 3,000 fake emails go out and try to stop wherever you're speaking. Like, don't toast this person. She's Adolf Hitler, and just creating trouble in your life. And you can see their new fixation is Megyn Kelly.
3,000 bots?
Yeah, at events that I speak at, I have to pre-tell people that if you announce me as a speaker, you're going to start getting a bunch of emails and you're going to think they're from real people, and they're not. They're just bots. And now that we can read the FARA docs, they're honest about the fact that they control these like Israeli bots in the comment sections on Instagram and on Facebook to make people.
So the Israeli Wire also has an Israeli bot farm.
Well, I don't know if they are orchestrating it, but I know that they have their accounts that they pay, and Seth Dillon helps out with that, with people that they pay to just like stalk all day online. And it's all about creating an illusion of pressure. And it's not real. Obviously, the majority of Americans don't support what Israel's doing and don't support Israel. So they have to create fake people. And you can read the FARA docs of Clockwork LLC, and it's totally insane. They have admitting what they're doing. Yeah, it really is something to behold, but that's what they're putting Megyn Kelly through. And she's proven to be very tough. And they're also angry at her because she told the truth, which surprised me, by the way. And I have such a deep respect for her over it. She was one of the few people who stood up and told the truth about what Charlie was going through in the end, as all of his friends lied about the pressure, including his wife, about the pressure he was under by Israel. They lied. And Megyn was one of the last people to speak with him on her show. And he opened up to her and told her everything he was going through. And she just told the truth. That's it. That was her crime.
Man, what a major miscalculation of your own strength.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. They just never fucking learn over there. I mean, they're going to tank that entire. I mean, I don't think there's any coming back from this, but
no.
I mean, they're getting like 1.2 thousand views a video. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's I mean, are you allowed to have any like criticism of Israel over there?
No, clearly not. I said genocide is always wrong. And I was getting text messages of people trying to convince me that I had done something truly crazy. And I wasn't even talking about Israel. I was talking about Brian Mast. He wore an IDF uniform into Congress and said, I'm trying to remember, but he basically said there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian. And it was completely genocidal. and I saw a tweet from Yashar Ali about it, and I was in Madrid at the time at a wedding, and I tweeted, genocide, no matter who it, genocide, no matter who it comes from, is always wrong. And they wanted me to apologize. Just like
Apologize? Apologize to who?
to understand how that hurt Israel, because people assumed that I was referring to Israel, and I was like, okay, let's say I wasn't referring to Israel. Like, genocide's always wrong. It actually applies all the time, but I was referring specifically to Brian Mast, and they tried to tell me that it didn't matter, that Ben's friends thought I was talking about Israel. So basically, if somebody else has an idea, I'm responsible for it. Even when I believe exactly what I tweeted, genocide's always wrong. I said what I meant. I didn't know I had to say in small print. This tweet is obviously referencing Brian Mast, who is trending right now for wearing an IDF uniform. Like, the tweet is a standalone tweet. Genocide is always wrong.
Jeez.
I think it's just they were a little insecure because they were planning a genocide. So now we can see why that tweet really got
I
under
mean,
their
it looks
skin.
like they're planning another one.
Yeah.
You've seen this tweet that came out? I texted it to you on the way here from breakfast. This is the Israeli Minister of National Security. Have you read this shit? Let me read it to you. For every terror of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. All of Lebanon must burn. With all due respect to the Americans, Israel must make it clear to the entire world that the blood of our sons and the security of our citizens are not forfeit. All of Lebanon must burn. Our supreme duty is to protect the citizens of Israel and the soldiers of the IDF, and this commitment takes precedence over every other consideration. I told the Prime Minister, even in our private meetings, for every terror of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese must weep. Enough with the ping pong. In the Middle East, you don't win with measured responses and restraint. You need to go berserk, to obliterate, to crush the terror.
Yeah.
Sounds like another genocide's on the way.
Yeah, he's a total psychopath. But they all are. That's the point. The government is being run by psychopaths. And I think people need to realize that what they are doing to the Palestinians.
What? That is crazy. Oh my gosh.
The Lebanese people, they will do to us. They will do to us. They will torture your kids. They don't care. I mean, this is in the pocket of the Goyim. All of that was a conspiracy until we suddenly had access to Jeffrey Epstein's emails.
What does Goy mean?
Cattle.
Nation cattle?
Just cattle,
Slaves?
Yeah, so they are okay with you so long as you
Because they say it means nation.
It does not mean nation.
They'll ask Grok. It means nation.
No,
really?
it means cattle. And so
they're
yeah. Yeah, they're Talmudic
I've never heard anybody call a fucking nation a goy. Have you?
No, that's completely made up, and that is not even something. I'm surprised that's a new updated thing they're trying to lie about. They try to constantly bury history even from 5 weeks ago.
I saw somebody, they tried to correct. I think I tweeted something about it, and they're like, I asked Ro Khanna when he was here. I said, "What's a goy, Ro?" And he didn't know.
Yeah, it's cattle.
So we told him, and then that clip went crazy.
Yeah, this is.
And everybody's telling me that it means nation.
Oh yeah,
nation.
He's a good goy.
Yeah.
There'll be
Good
a lot
nation?
of goy there. There'll be a lot of nation there. I mean, read the context of his emails, but like also that's kind of weird. All of their literature, it's not difficult to find out what goy means. It's cattle. And their perspective is like, to the extent that they can get us to work for them, we're fine.
Yeah.
And if we won't work for them, then we have to be obliterated.
They do the Grok thing where they're like, Grok, what does goy mean? And it'll say, I don't know what it says. But then I'll just go over to Claude and I'll ask Claude, what does goy mean?
Yeah.
And it's a derogatory comment towards anybody that's not Jewish.
Yes. It's
racist.
It's a fundamentally
Racist against Christians.
It is. And there's a real.
Shawn is getting a little ahead of himself, brother. Let Candace speak for a second.
Well, I mean, they're raised to believe that their life matters more. So Ben Gvir, you have to appreciate that he's being honest.
Well, I mean, you can see it all over his fucking face.
Yeah,
he thinks he's more important than everybody.
That's their perspective. Like that's what October 7th proved. They have a right to commit a genocide now, even though they plotted it October 7th and Bibi Netanyahu allowed it to happen, and all the evidence shows that. The whole point is that they've been doing this forever, these false flag attacks. This is the whole history of Israel, is false flag attacks. I mean, look at the USS Liberty, and they still deny what they did, deny in the face of overwhelming evidence that they believe it is their birthright to mass murder, steal, kill, and rape, take from people, destroy heritage, and then reintroduce themselves in other societies with all of this wealth that they stole. And say that it's because they worked hard. Yeah, they worked hard murdering people and stealing and running the Gulag system. And
what's the Gulag system?
Russia, the Bolshevik Revolution, the Romanovs, the diamonds that they stole from the Romanov family after they murdered them in satanic ritual. Those diamonds end up in New York, by the way. Like, look at you know what you should do in your spare time? Look into Armand Hammer, Armie Hammer, the actor. Look into his family's history. Look into Julius Hammer. Look into Arm and Hammer, what their family did when they came over from the Pale of Settlement in Russia. Lenin's quote unquote favorite Jew, even though Lenin himself was Jewish. He took diamonds, established the diamond district. Well, who were they getting the diamonds from in Russia? I mean, they were mass murdering Christians. So this is where do you think is going to happen? They just destroyed all of Palestine. Do you think there was no wealth there, no jewelry, no diamonds? And you see when you see the Israeli settlers go in and pillage. I mean, have you seen these videos? They just take their land. That's how it's always been. They just run in and they take your land. It's theirs now. Thugs, they're being trained to do that. Like cockroaches, like watching cockroaches descend, truly. And that's the only way you can describe it when you see the videos. It's disgusting. It's the most, and they beat these people and they take their land and that's it. It's all theirs now.
Well, there's going to be is there going to be a big Trump hotel there now?
Well, that was Trump himself tweeted the Trump resort, whatever it was. Of like, this is what Gaza could be. It was the most despicable thing I've ever seen. You wonder who tweeted it because Trump doesn't know how to use AI. He's not authoring his own tweets. It was absolutely tasteless. But
did you see what was that thing that he posted about him being Jesus? Who what was that?
Oh, he didn't know.
Oh yeah, he didn't fucking know. He didn't know there was fucking demons in the sky either, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Just more of the really gross stuff.
I mean, are they just mocking Christians or what? Like, what is this?
Well, they hate Christians. They're taught to hate Christians. They spit on our children.
Do you think Trump hates
Christians? They train
Christians?
their children to spit. I don't think he loves us.
He's the one that posted it.
Yeah. I mean, Trump's never pretended to be a Christian. I think he's been pretty open about the fact that he certainly favors Israel. Like,
he's got a 99% approval rating over it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
think he's also said several times he doesn't think he's going to heaven.
Yeah, I think he's kind of made his bed. I don't think he's going to heaven either. If it means anything, I don't get to decide, but I don't just objectively looking at everything. I wouldn't bet on him in heaven either. You want people to change. You hope they change, but it's kind of hard when you just see what's going on there to imagine that that's a ticket to heaven, you know?
Yeah.
But he's allowing to happen. It's like he's obsessed with earthly riches and he's got such short time to live. You'd think that you'd hope that toward the end of your life, you would want to right wrongs and be a good person because you know you're going to meet your maker soon. So that's one of the more stunning things is like Trump's going to die soon just because he's going to die soon. He's in his 80s. That's how it works. Joe Biden's going to die soon. They're all going to die soon. So it's usually a good time to not beget evil.
Yep.
Try to get right with God. I don't know. Final stretch. Try to sprint. You try to sprint last stretch. And it's interesting to see Trump sort of do the opposite. And I just go, okay, that's interesting.
Man.
I don't even wish any ill toward Trump. I don't have any anger. It's worse. It's pity.
You don't have any anger?
I pity him. I pity a man who has relinquished what was a real power. People loved him, believed in him, thought that he could change things. I pity for earthly riches.
Yeah.
To give that up, I don't know. And that will be his legacy. I always pity weak men. Because I just think there is something so natural in the way that God designed it for men to lead, for men to be strong, for men to be forthright. And so when you see men that are weak, it does draw from me frustration, but also pity. That's not what God designed you to be,
I almost wish I had pity for him, but I just don't.
Yeah. How do you not? He's a slave. He's got all this stuff and he's a slave.
Because he's a voluntary slave. He made the fucking decision.
He made the decision.
Wasn't forced into it. He's a greedy piece of shit.
He just wanted to be president. And he was short-sighted. I think he's living in a prison every day.
I fucking hope he is.
Yeah. He's not loved, and that matters to him. And I don't know. I don't think I'm angry with him. No, I think I'm just equal parts disgusted. I think it's pitiful. That's what I mean. When going back to the question you first asked me, what's it like having the and I'm like, I even forgot. That's how powerless he's become. It's not even something I hold on to a couple of weeks later. Just poor Trump, poor Trump.
Poor Trump. Oh man, have you heard about this Peter Thiel shit?
What?
The secret society. I got a hot question for you. So we had Claude scrape the internet for the most viral question, and here it is. This week, a hacktivist leaked a membership of Dialogue, a secret invitation-only society Peter Thiel founded in 2006, with a roster that reportedly includes a sitting Treasury Secretary, senators, and military and intelligence officials. So here's the question. Have you looked into this at all, and what's your take?
What's the group called? Did they find out the name?
Dialogue.
Oh, it's called Dialogue? I mean, my general instinct on Peter Thiel is no. His name is an anagram for the reptile. It's a no. He appears in the Epstein files so much after lying to Joe Rogan and saying like, oh, he helped me with some math stuff. It was weird. The emails are weird. It seems like they're like meeting up for dalliances and all across New York City. It's just weird. It's very strange, the emails. And it's a hard no. But also I think I had my opinion colored because Dave Rubin told me about how he partied with him on his island. He also has an island, by the way.
Who does?
Peter Thiel.
He's
I learned
got
this
an
from
island
Dave
too?
Rubin. And Dave Rubin told me the story that still lives inside of me. And he'll deny it, but Peter Thiel will hear this and know I'm telling the truth because I couldn't have known it otherwise. But him and his husband went to Peter Thiel's island, which is in like off the coast of Hawaii. He just kind of bought an island. So this is what you do at a certain level. And he has his house on it. And he, I guess, got to an age where he realized that like he needed somewhere to dump his wealth. So he decided to have a kid, got a surrogate, whatever. And he said it was the weirdest thing because once his son was born, they all were there on the island. And Peter Thiel is building a house next door for the nannies to raise the child. And he said when they brought the child around the table at his house, they were basically like the servants were like presenting the child, and Peter was just sort of like looking at the child, like, yes, yeah, there he is, or whatever. And it was like very strange and detached, and that they partied with Peter Thiel, and I'll leave it at that. But I had my opinions about who Peter Thiel is was shaped by Dave Rubin. It's not a guy that I want in authority to make any decisions whatsoever. That's a dark, dark, dark future.
They just released a shit ton of names that are in this thing. Have you seen this yet? I think they did it while we were sitting in here. I just saw it on the last break. We'll put the names up on screen right now so everybody can read them. Here's a follow-up question. Across everything you've dug into, true crime, cults, criminal networks, what's the single most disturbing thing you found that you actually believe is real? You come across some dark shit, so.
Yeah, I mean, the understanding, the pedophilia, that's all real. It's all real. It's a cult worship. And it goes back to like they believe in sex magic and
sex magic.
You could get into like Aleister Crowley, all that's real. I mean, he wrote books about it. It's not like they were trying to hide it, but these are the elites. Like these aren't people that are at the bottom. It's why I find it hilarious when people believe in the moon landings. I'm like, do you know the history of the Jet Propulsion Labs and that it was created by Aleister Crowley's acolyte, a protege, so to speak? These people wrote extensively about the sex parties they were having, that they thought they were summoning demons. They were summoning demons. I thought they were summoning demons, and they harm children. That is the world we live in, and I think that is very disturbing to have to contend with that. And the craziest part is the people that protect them. Oh, for money. That's hard to know that people I come up with in politics will look the other way for the right price. Think about that. Everyone knew what Epstein was doing, and then he was protected, and they knew that he went to prison.
I think about this shit all the time.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating would be the right word, but it's interesting to see how these people think that they have amassed so much power, but they really have zero power. The only fucking thing that they can really do is introduce a bill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, when
they can't even fucking say what's on their mind.
Yeah.
They're powerless. They're fucking, they're controlled.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I think that's a way to, a means to control people is to get them into politics.
Yeah. They control Congress. There's no question about
it.
They
really think that they have fucking power.
Well, in many ways, they find people who are pedophiles already, and then they empower them. Give them churches, give them, I was like shocked looking at the history of the Calvary Chapel Church when I was looking into like Rob McCoy. It's unbelievable how many people like are reformed, whatever, and then end up being reformed at all. It's a system. It's for sure a system, and that's not imagined. And you need to wake up and realize that our world is in fact being run by pedophiles. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Epstein thing didn't wake you up to the fact that it's left and right, you're still asleep. Mm-hmm. If you think that our troubles in this country are white versus black, you're still asleep. If you think it's gay versus straight, you're still asleep. If you think it's like, feminism versus chauvinism, you're still asleep. We've got way bigger problems, and these are ancient problems that we have. People that worship and summon demons and believe in the occult and do it in your face. I believe Charlie's assassination was an occult ritual. Everything about it. Yeah, everything about it. And I believe the people around him are into dark, demonic stuff.
I mean, when you told me at dinner that he was assassinated in the middle of a pentagram, I was like, holy shit.
And someone sent me an old Freemason Bible, and it showed how they believe that you have to be in a pentagram to sacrifice someone. Literally shows you, like, there's a map inside of the Freemason Bible. And I looked at it and I said, Charlie was sitting in a pentagram. Sorry,
where did the Freemasons come from?
Well,
you know the history of that?
Yeah, I actually just read a book for our book club called The Secret History of America by Nicholas Hager. Really, really important read. An academic read, but a very challenging one, an important one to get into the history of Freemasonry. And I guess Freemasonry, in many ways, obviously, it traces back. It's biblical. So you have to think about different iterations. So it's like Solomon's temple. The Masons of the temple is kind of what they're hinting at. But in terms of like the modern introduction into Western society, it begins with Francis Bacon and Paris, where Paris seems to be the home of a lot of the things that have happened in these secret societies. It's like they go to Paris to be initiated. The same thing for Sigmund Freud. He studied under Charcot, and he was similarly initiated. I don't think it's a coincidence that Paris's code is 33. If you want to dial up to Paris, it's 33. It's home of the French Revolution. There's a lot that has happened in Paris. There's a lot of evil that is taken place. But the Freemason Society, I mean, this gets into the infiltration of the Knights Templar, intentional infiltration by Adam Weishaupt, who was funding the infiltration of various Freemason groups and bringing them all together under the Illuminati. Our founding fathers were Freemasons, and the Nicholas Hager book carefully walks you through even the symbolism on the back of a $1 bill. And to be clear, when they joined the Illuminati, it was after the Revolutionary War, but it was always done in mind, and Adam Weishaupt was an open Satanist, with using Christianity as a shell to further their satanic causes. So you have to really go backward to understand the theology, the infiltration, how the Scottish Rite, which is the Scottish Rite Freemasons, which had everything to do with establishing America, was really dating back from France, and the Catholic Church having Jack de Molay hung. I think he was hung. He was killed. And these groups then went into Scotland, and that book just helps you trace how these Freemason groups arrived into America. And for them, it was seen as a new Atlantis. Okay. We keep getting caught doing all this crazy stuff across the European continent. It's always been a war against the Catholic Church. They're all explicit in their hatred of the Catholic Church, which is very compelling to me. It's
why do you think they're against the Catholics so much?
Because the Catholics were calling them what they were, Satanists. I mean, the rewrite of history, Isabella of Spain, she should be sainted. They're constantly, everything you've learned about Catholicism and the history of Catholicism is just crap in school. And there's a reason for that, because America was designed to be anti-Catholic, to be anti-Orthodox. And the reason is because Catholics hold the history. They know what they were doing on that continent. America was supposed to be kept fat, happy, and young. I truly believe that. And now America, well, we were fat, happy, and young for 250 years. And now we're arriving into our adolescent phase, and people are starting to look in the right places. It's why I encourage people to go to Russia. Russia holds the key to a lot of secrets of these maniacal psychopaths who have arrived in America, who say, well, my great so-and-so went to Russia. Got you clocks. Know exactly who your great-grandfather must have been, and your bloodthirst. The Bible says you will know them by their fruits. You do. You do. Do you have to imagine who Mark Levin's ancestors were who were in Russia? No, I got to guess. I'm going to guess they were killing the shit out of Bolsheviks. If I just had to guess, they were killing the shit out of Christians. If I had to guess, they must have been. They must have built the Gulag system. There's a bloodlust that exists and an anger that is just so perceptible. That's why you say you will know them by their fruits. It's the way they speak about people. There's a happiness in their eyes when they're talking about like murder. It's weird. Sometimes when I watch clips that will go viral of Ben Shapiro or Mark Levin, there's something in their like demeanor and their eyes that is, it's so dark. It's so dark where you really go, I think you are happy. It makes you happy when kids are being killed in Gaza. Like there's something, it's very disturbing. They're not having the same reaction as we are having. And you see it in their tweets. They're hungry for more death and destruction.
Oh no, I've seen it. I've seen it in person.
It's dark.
I've seen it here in this room.
It's dark. That can only come from worshiping
like fucking foaming at the mouth.
Yeah. That can only come from the Prince of Darkness. Because when spirits are light and happy and you have a reaction to seeing a dead kid. Doesn't matter what the race of the kid is. Doesn't matter what the race of the kid is. You don't get up on the airways and go, oh, well, that's what happens. You're going to get some more of that. Like what Ben Gavir is saying, there's something very wrong with these people. And so you don't have to imagine who they are the children of. And that's why you don't have to get into the weeds on it either. It's like, you know, God gave you intuition, you know, he gave you intuition to know
Y'all are funny.
when somebody is spiritually disturbed. And that's putting it mildly. Something about post October 7th, you can see the flicker of demonology in their eyes now. And the satisfaction they get from knowing that they're hurting other people.
I mean, we just read that tweet.
Yeah. Honest.
There's 1,000 more just like it
Honest.
from other people in powerful positions over there.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so many things that just, I mean, to me, that prove how bad the influence is. Like sending that fucking pedophile back to Israel. You know, but you saw that, right? Well, he was on the cyber team, or they're one of the top guys in their cybersecurity fucking wing of the idea. I don't know, whatever. Came here luring, 12-year-olds or something in on the internet to fuck them. We didn't do anything to them. We just packaged them up and sent them back to Israel.
Where he can do that freely, by the way, because they've been harboring and protecting pedophiles for a while.
We're just cattle to them, right?
Because it gets into that Frankist faith that actually dominates the Frankist beginnings, the Frankist origins of Israel. That's not Judaism. The Star of David is not the Star of David. It's Solomon's Keys. Look up at Aleister Crowley's book. He's got the Star of David all over it. It's about summoning demons. It's Baal worship. And they don't want you to peer to know the history of that. But that's the reality. So Star of David. But people are waking up to that. And I think that's why they have a certain, it's almost like they're under pressure right now. Like their lust for destruction has never been louder. They're like shape-shifting. I think it's the best way to put it. I feel like we're watching people who used to play human shape-shift into demons in real life.
What do you think about all this UFO, UAP, alien shit that's coming out all of a sudden?
Distraction.
Do you think it's a distraction?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's a narrative and they're going to try to pull a false flag?
We're almost there. I'm trying my best. I am getting sleepy, but we are extremely close. We are, what is that, 14? Wait, no, that's 24. 24 minutes away, but it's on 1.25. So it's getting there. We're almost done.
Like alien invasion.
I think the government has had technology and has hidden technology for a long time. And I think whenever they start threatening to do disclosures in a time where people are waking up about the ultimate disclosure, which is who rules over us, it's a distraction.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of time to give us this. And now there seems to be a real awakening happening. People talking about demons, people talking about the occult, people talking about Baal worshippers and child sacrifice. And that's a real threat.
That's personally what I think all this UAP shit is. I think it's all demonic entities.
There are demonic entities around us.
I also think it's interesting how it is resurfaced right in the midst of the Epstein shit, right in the midst of Pam Bondi saying the Dow's at 50,000. How many people do you have coming after you? How many death threats do you get?
All day, every day.
Do you take them seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. We have a person in jail for trying to kill me. Yeah, I take him seriously. Because I said...
Tried to kill you?
We're talking about Jewish history, talking about that Rebbe Schneerson tomb that Trump prayed over, and they all go into Brooklyn and pray over that guy. You should look into that guy.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What tomb?
Yeah, you start talking about the Chabad Lubavitch, and they lose their minds, the history of the Chabad Lubavitch. But if you open up looking into Sigmund Freud, if everyone listening could just read The Assault on Truth, and the second book after you read that is Sigmund Freud and the Jewish Mystical Tradition, you'll figure it out.
All right.
You'll figure it out.
I got you another present. I got you another present.
What is it?
Oh, Lord. Shawn Ryan does not show family-friendly presents, so let me take this off the screen real quick.
I actually love presents.
Me too.
Yeah. Honestly, the gummies were really good.
Yeah. You have so many people coming after you, you know? So, you familiar with Sig Sauer?
Yes, I am actually.
Good.
Yes.
So I got a buddy over there. His name's Jason.
Okay.
And Jason is the VP of marketing over there. He got really excited knowing that you're coming
Showing him a gun, but I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
on. So with this kid named Schlep. And he Sours, the victim's
No.
name.
Wow.
Anyways, here you go. This is the presser there. So
Amazing. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
It's absolutely amazing.
You're welcome. Maybe we can break that in on the range before you head out,
Yeah, there we go.
right?
Yeah. Oh, it's so kind. That is, I mean, people are amazing.
So kind.
No, I know, but I mean, people are just amazing. And they've just been, forget what Charlie's, feel the energy of that. Though. There's always more slaves.
Yeah.
And
How'd
so
you get into go ahead.
I know, I feel the energy of that. Though now I feel like though they feel threatened.
How'd you get into Catholicism?
My husband, he converted to Catholicism. He read, they say, read theology. We would say majored in theology in college. And he went, which was a very big deal, obviously, in England, decided to convert to Catholicism in his last year of school after studying theology. And once we had our kid, he was really being pulled back into the church and spending a lot of time there and really getting involved. And it was sort of just this another layer of my husband that I wanted to know. I didn't get it. I did not get it at all. And so as I am, I decided I wanted to understand it. And it was sort of this perfect storm of where I was at politically, reading about Sigmund Freud and his deep hatred for the Catholic Church. I mean, deep hatred for the Catholic Church, and basically creating modern psychology as a way to counter the Catholic Church, to replace the priests with therapists, to disrupt that system. And I was going, wow, every time I read a book, it somehow is telling me that the Freemasons were very anti-Catholic, and I'm not looking for it. Even that book I just mentioned to you tells you about how they were ever intentional about making sure that the new Atlantis would not be Catholic. So once I was awake to the Freemasonic hatred and the pedophile protecting hatred toward the Catholic Church and how they plan to infiltrate and break her apart from the inside and break apart the Catholic Empire that way, I saw this sort of big piece of history, really, that I was compelled toward. And there has to be, for something to try to destroy it that bad, for Satan to hate it that bad, it's because it represents truth. And so I am very compelled toward learning the Orthodox tradition, the Catholic tradition. My mind is there. I mean, Russia was just recently went to Russia, and I'm just floored at how much is there. I mean, I need to spend time in Russia to be able to hold artifacts that old. I did an interview with a guy. His name is Nikita. He's an incredible, very accomplished director. Anyway, I asked him something. He had something in his office, and I was like, "Oh, how old is this?" And he sort of laughed. He said, "Older than America." There is something about that, I felt so like a spiritual thirst for more of Russia, like the secrets, like they've just been sort of waiting, and they've kept the books and before they were translated and taken. And I really want to spend more time in Moscow.
You like it there?
Oh yeah, definitely do that. That'd be pretty dope. Somebody might get it right. New baby the due date is the 28th of July. However, his growth is a week and a half ahead of schedule. So place your bets because it's getting very close. I don't think it's gonna be on the 28th. Don't let my comment just there, persuade you or sway you in any other way. But due date is the 28th. He is a week and a half ahead of schedule as far as growth and all of that. So place your bets because it's coming very soon.
Loved it.
What misconceptions do we have about Russia?
All of them. And you start to notice a pattern that is the Zionists really hate Russia, although they'll tell you that that's where their family came from, right? The pogroms, my family left after the pogroms that never happened. You assassinated the Tsar and Alexander II. And it was a Jewish plot. I mean, there's no question about that. And it's just a remarkable thing. It's like no matter what they do, they're the victims. It's kind of this thing. And they did end up, a lot of them coming to America. And then obviously the satanic Romanov ritual, and then a lot of them came into America. But Russia, if you have an American mindset about it, you would think it's dilapidated, that there's no freedom, highly impoverished, that the people hate Vladimir Putin. I don't know. That would be my general sense of what everybody thinks. And also that they hate Americans, right? That I think everyone believes.
Mhm.
Couldn't be more opposite. Could not be. I mean, they absolutely love Americans. Absolutely love Americans. They don't even understand why Americans think what they think about Russia. They are so confused by the Western perception, if you will, about Russia. Unbelievably safe. I think I also thought it was maybe in the back of my head thought it would be unsafe. It was unbelievably safe, clean. It really makes you angry about the fact that our men are sacrificing their lives and their bodies in the Middle East, and they come back to the way our country looks, even our capital city, which should be the shining example. At least make the city nice in DC. You've got drug addicts walking around, gay pride flags, people walking around half naked, tweaking on the streets of DC.
Yeah.
You not Moscow. It's an immaculate city. And the history, as someone who loves history, to have gone to the monasteries, to see the old churches, it stirs your soul. Beauty stirs your soul. And there's a reason why whenever commies, who I believe came to America, and that's what we're dealing with right now, and they're the ones that are in power, communism and Zionism are brother and sister, but they seek to destroy history. They seek to make it so that people don't aspire to beauty, because when you don't see beauty, it's reflected in your soul. I mean, in Catholicism, that is a belief that you need beauty, right? It's beauty, truth, and goodness. These are the pillars. And when you don't see beauty, when you don't have truth, and when you don't have goodness, a society falls apart. When you don't aim toward those transcendentals in life. When you walk around and you see these churches and the relics and the medieval intention, like it just the beauty of walking into a church that has stood there for that long, it stirs something inside of you. I felt inspired. There's the only way I could describe it. I wanted to know more. I wanted to be smarter.
We got another due date guess. I'm gonna go the 8th. Yeah, I'm gonna go September 8th.
I wanted to work harder. And in America, they want everyone to sort of live in nothingness, like really close to your neighbor, built in flimsy homes. Nothing is structured anymore. And there's a reason for that, because they don't want you to think about history. They don't want you to think about permanence. They want you to think that you're here and then you're gone, that you have. Don't think about ancestry. Don't think about ancestry. Don't think about living in your dad's home when you get older. That's what we're drifting toward. We're drifting toward that emptiness of the Bolshevik Revolution, when they made them close the churches and they made the state religion atheism. America has been under a Bolshevik spell, I think, for a long time.
Yeah. It does seem like there's an awakening happening.
Mm-hmm.
But well, how do you like being independent?
I'm just the happiest person. I could never go back to working for someone other than my husband.
You are crushing it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And, I owe it to my team for believing in me. And even when I'm sure they don't believe in me, I'm sure they've got to have some questions. The one thing we will never agree on in the control room is the moon landing. I got these guys who need it to be true. His name is Skylar. Yeah. And but one day I will bring him over to the dark side, which is I'm like, the moon landings didn't happen, Sky. Moon landings didn't happen, Sky. But he's like, no, I think they did. They did happen. But we have a great time. And it really is a blessing to be able to work from home and to be in control of your own life and to say what you actually think without consequence. The threat of, the sort of Damocles above your head and having someone, am I going to be in trouble and get brought into the CEO's office because Ben didn't like that? Like I'm so glad it's all removed from my life, and that I landed on my feet in large part, in every part, thanks to my husband and faith in God, really trusting that I could follow truth and say something that was good and right, and that he would have my back, and he did.
Well, I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
And it's inspired a lot of people. So congratulations.
Thank you. And I do also just want to say I would not be here without the fans. They will never know what that year was like for me, to have people, which they're trying to do to Megan, but it was magnified, I think, because I was kind of early to the cancellation party. Just try to take everything from your family. I mean, they don't want you to just be fired. They want you destroyed.
Yeah.
Like it's so evil. And if it wasn't for my fans, the people who signed up, who sent the emails, keep going, we're with you, please don't sell us out. That's the other thing, because they're so used to that. They're so used to someone just taking the money. I wouldn't be here without them. The people who prayed around the world, who pray every single day around the world for my safety, who write us and tell us that they're keeping us in their prayers, which is the most important part. My family could not have gotten through it without them. And so I just feel like I also just need to say thank you, especially with the Charlie assassination, because it was that was definitely the toughest few months of my entire career, was dealing with that. I mean, it still is tough, but I've now accepted that he's not coming back, and I've accepted that he was betrayed. So it's easier now that I'm contending with reality. But those months that followed, I always say to my team, I make the joke, I'm like, if I can get through the last 2 years and I didn't end up like shaving my head and, and going into a loony bin, like I'm telling you, like, I think I'm the most emotionally stable person that I know, because I don't know who else could have made it out of that without losing their mind.
Yeah.
It's been a tough go. But my husband was reminding me, we were out for a run the other day, because sometimes you get the perspective. I was saying to him, when we had a member on our team suffered a seizure in Russia, and Russia has been amazing in taking care of him, who served his country for 12 years and couldn't get a freaking appointment at the VA, and knew something was wrong. And they told him it was in his head, and here's some Xanax. And it turns out it was in his head, but it was a massive brain clot. Anyway, my husband and I was saying to him, those moments where we thought he was going to die, and I was sitting here just going, really, God, like, do we need to have a chat? What's up? Are we fighting? What's going on? And you get those moments. And George just has the best perspective. And he just reminded me about the lessons of Job, and the biblical lessons of Job, and having everything taken away from you, and remembering God's perspective on that. Like, you don't, what I contend with, and not seeing why things are happening, not being able to understand the bigger picture. And it's so important to always have that perspective. Is we are just, as I always say, little blips in an equation that we don't understand. And at random times in the equation, God puts a plus in your life and then puts a -5. He's like, here's +1, here's -5, here's division, here's multiplication. And you're going, what on earth is going on? And we're not meant to see the sum of it. But occasionally, I think we're allowed a glimpse into recognizing in the retrospect that when he was doing all those minuses, it actually was a plus.
Mhm.
You get to look back and go, man, you really wanted me out of the Daily Wire like yesterday, and you did it in the craziest way.
6 minutes.
But man, were you looking out? And so it's thank God even for the hardships.
Good for you. Good for you. All right, last question. If you had 3 guests to recommend for this show, who would they be?
Phil Turney, USS Liberty,
Okay.
changed my life. There's just something about a person who's held on to something like that their whole life and felt that they could never move on because of their brothers being ruthlessly murdered.
Hopefully she say Erica.
That just
That'd be
can
petty.
really see it, how evil our government, what they're capable of.
Mhm.
I would definitely say Phil Turney. I give you one that I've never had on my show, but I feel like you'll beat me to it.
Yeah.
Every year I try to get Vladimir Putin. I feel like you'll beat me to it. I feel like you got to just like do something. You got to get like Kim Jong-un, like out of nowhere,
Love to get them.
right? I feel like that's where we're at. Like, we now need to know. They've told so many lies about us, and like they're protecting Jeffrey Epstein. I'm like, okay, let me go find all the people that you're saying. If Jeffrey Epstein's good and Putin is evil, I got to go figure out like what's going on. Really,
Yeah.
that would be fascinating. Like when Tucker went over and did Putin, I was like seized by it. Yeah, give me a Phil Turney, Kim Jong-un, and or Putin, and I'd like to see your wife.
She's been on here
Has she?
twice.
Okay. You got to do another family member of yours.
I don't like putting my family on display.
I know, but you learn the most about people when they speak to their family members, and that's why I love to watch them, those podcasts. I'm like, oh, suddenly
How about Kanye?
they'd be great.
You think he would do it?
I do. Yeah, he's great.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
You
I'm
wanna-
due for Kanye. I just want to go to see one of his concerts. They look incredible. But
Yeah.
Kanye's expression is music. You got when he does the show, that's his medium,
You want to end this with a prayer?
Absolutely.
All right, you lead it.
Oh, no, you have to lead the prayer.
You lead it. It's your episode.
Okay, I'll lead the prayer. I never lead the prayer in my house. My granddad was always like, if there's a guy there, they always lead the prayer. Okay, so this is, I'll just do like how I kind of pray, and like, but I feel like I have to incorporate you into it. So, well, like whatever. So, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, we thank you for this conversation. We hope that people who are hearing this conversation are impacted. There are a lot of people that are suffering in the world, and it's difficult for us to contend with why that is and why that suffering is allowed to happen. But we always at first come to you with gratitude, and recognizing that there is a lot of goodness that is working at the same time, that there are so many people who are waking up and understanding what is happening in this world on your time and on a timeline that makes sense. We pray for the children that are suffering all across the world, the people who are in war-torn areas. We pray that you protect them and that you cover them, the people that are growing up without parents, without water, without food, and that you are with them. We pray for the information that you want us to have. We come to you in gratitude for the platform that you have given me, the platform that you have given Shawn Ryan, the platform that I don't think either of us would have ever thought or think that we deserve. And we continue to ask that you use these platforms to do your will, because these are your platforms and these things can be taken away from us in any moment. We thank you for the health of our family. We thank you for the energy to keep going. We thank you for the people that you have put in our lives, even the bad ones. We pray especially for our enemies and the people that seek to do harm on us, because only you can move them and change those people in the world. In your name, we pray. In Jesus Christ, amen. Through Jesus Christ, amen.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Candace, it was an honor.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be here. I feel like I was last, and I was like, man, maybe he just doesn't like me. I would love to do his show. Like, I thought your show was so cool. I was like,
Thank you.
I wonder if we could be on there.
Well, you made it.
I made it.
It was a fascinating interview. I really enjoyed this.
There will be a lot of tears on the internet, I can guarantee you.
Awesome interview.
Yeah.
Man, that was dope. That was dope. Let's see. I don't think it's anything else. Nope. That was super dope. That was definitely one of the best interviews of 2026 for sure. I forgot who had the title before. It's been a couple. It's been a couple of interviews that has been great, but 4 hours of Candace Owens just truly preaching facts, and all of that was just truly amazing. So I'm glad we pushed through it all. I appreciate y'all for sticking it out. So make sure you guys hit the like button before we head out of here again. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you hit the sub button if you are new to the channel. Just tomorrow. Today's Thursday, so technically tonight. We might go live tonight. Obviously, this has been 2 back-to-back nights, super tired. So just turn your notifications on so you can be notified the next time we go live. So we go right back to our episodes. And yeah, outside of that, I think y'all should have a great night's sleep. We've been up. I don't know what time zone y'all in. I'm on the East Coast. It's 3 a.m. So make sure y'all have a good night's sleep, because we got a long day of work in a couple of hours. And again, turn your notifications on so that way you can be notified when we go live. It may not be tonight. It might be Friday, but it'll definitely be once or twice before the weekend is over. So I hope you have a great night. Thank you for supporting the channel, and I will see y'all on the next one.